Hey everybody, welcome to the Nevermind podcast. Episode what? 14?
14.
Body positivity. We also have Nick here in Skype and
That was a terrible intro. Body positivity also.
what do you want me to do? What do you want to do?
I want and in the red corner, weighing in at way too much probably to be on camera is. No, I'm kidding. It's body positivity day, baby.
Yeah. And in the blue corner we have Laureline. It's not really blue though, it's more like orange and pink and shit.
Well, I'm definitely gonna lean out of shot just occasionally because I lean into my mic to get real sexy occasionally.
Oh yeah. We're trying a new look here with the taller windows.
It works really good for your guys'. It's not as flattering on mine, but that's really just because of the way I'm. It's not your fault. Like it's just the camera they have. It's designed for green screening.
Yeah.
That looks like that glass is meant for some wine, not for some water.
Are you drinking some wine
This?
over there?
Yes.
Not today. I'm gonna have to. I don't have any soda left, so I drank a couple of cups of coffee, and now I'm drinking water because my stomach's on fire from drinking too much coffee.
Fair.
All right. Well, today we're going to be speaking about body positivity. It's everyone's favorite subject.
It's
Cool.
the internet's favorite subject for sure.
So, anyone out there in the chat, if you have anything you want to say about body positivity, go ahead and say it in the chat. And I think maybe last half hour, if you want, we could take a call on Discord.
Yeah, I'm always good.
I'll have to set it up, but yeah. All right.
You know it, baby.
So, Laureline,
I hate tea. Do you guys drink tea ever?
I love unsweet tea.
I knew that actually because I've seen you drink
Yeah.
unsweetened tea like at work and stuff. So
Yeah, I
I
can't
should have known
stand
that.
sweet tea.
Do you drink tea, Laureline?
Occasionally sweet tea.
I
It's
fucking
usually gonna
hate
have
tea.
Ugh.
I hate
flavoring
all
in it,
tea.
and I usually give up on it about halfway through.
I drink tea like people drink when people get made fun of for drinking like coffee. That's how I am with tea. Like if I'm gonna drink tea, it's got to be like double raspberry mixed with lemonade tea. Like I can't fucking
See,
drink.
like I can do the flavored teas. I can do like lemon tea or lemonade tea.
I love raspberry like in tea,
But I
like
can't
raspberry
have
tea.
I can't have just like
Peach
straight
tea.
sweet tea because it's just like water with sugar in it.
I had to stop. So for those of you that don't live where we live, we have a tea shop at the mall. They're always making you drink tea out front of it, and
They're gone though.
like I had to literally stop doing it because I felt bad because I'd always just feel bad for them, take a sample to make their day a little better. But then I'd be like, ugh, like after every time I took a drink, and I'd feel bad because I was like, oh, dude, I hate tea.
So you're saying you just
sweet
did it because you
tea.
felt bad? Like
Yeah,
you don't
well,
want to tell them
they
no
have-
thanks?
They have to stand up front all day, and nobody wants their fucking tea because it's tea. So I always would take tea and be like, thanks for the tea, man.
I think they're closed now, actually.
No,
What?
no musty sweet tea. It doesn't have milk in it. It's
Yeah, our
just-
sweet tea is a little different. Our sweet tea is like pouring gallons of sugar in,
Yeah.
more like
It's like
Remember
black
that
leaf
America
tea
is what do you want with your diabetes?
with water, and then it's like a gallon of sugar.
anything that America calls sweet. It would not be considered sweet anywhere else. It would be considered like dessert wine or something.
It wouldn't
It's
even
literally
be
just
dessert.
sugar.
It's not. It's like more than dessert. It's
I was
like
like when America decided the donut was a breakfast food instead of like a
Right.
dessert like the rest
Yeah.
of the world. Like the donut's a dessert everywhere else in the world. It's a pastry, and we're like, you know what sounds good at 7 in the morning? A fucking donut.
you know what I need first thing in the morning. I need something glazed and
Yeah.
complete sugar.
But like we're so specific because if you were like, here, it's morning. Would you like this piece of cake? They'd be like, oh, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
You would be refused at the border for your anti-tea platform.
I would pass. They'd have some sort of test. They'd be like, oh, so all you have to do is drink this tea and say, that's delicious. And I'll
Yeah.
be like, oh no.
Nick can't say no to anyone.
In our
so-
defense, though, I'm sure that your tea is a whole lot better than what's available in the United States.
That's probably true.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
a good point. Because we get like dip a little fucking shitty Teavana tea bag in your water.
Yeah, or we have the mix, the like ready mix that you just dump in a glass of water and then you stir it in.
Yeah. Oh god, that's not good in any form.
No, it's
That's
not.
just- oh no.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't drink very many drinks. I pretty much drink. I drink a shitload of water, a lot of soda, and that's pretty much all I drink. Lots of water and soda.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
a lot of people only think I drink soda because I drink so much soda, which I do, but I also drink like one of those like big jugs of water that you can buy at the store. I just refill that once a day and drink it like throughout the day. So I actually do drink a shitload of water. I just also drink a lot of garbage soda.
Yeah. Well, enough. Wait, hold on. Mr. Bruce said something. Would you be? Hey, hey, pizza is vegetable in some schools over there. Yeah, that is true.
Well, and
back on the subject, do you see the Cosmos front cover? Can you
Yes,
pull up
yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
Cosmo front cover for me, Loreline?
Yeah, it's I forget her name. It's something Holiday, right? Tess Holiday. Yeah, Tess
Tess
Holiday.
Holiday.
yeah, she's a
I
plus
can't. I
size
couldn't think
model.
of her. I couldn't think of her name right off the
If
top
we're
of my
gonna
head.
talk about plus size models, I think we need to talk about Ashley Graham.
But Ashley
I'm
Graham is like on the verge. Yes, she is technically considered a plus size model.
Yeah.
However,
Yeah,
that's
kind of-
due
that's
to
kind
the
of the whole,
industry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of a joke, right? Because technically anything in the modeling agency is plus size over like a size 8. So it's really a little confusing when you touch on modeling.
So you don't consider her as a plus size model?
Oh, I'm saying
I do.
the internet does. It just depends on it
And the
depends on where you,
industry
like,
does
cut the
because
line
it's
yourself.
like if you're over a size, I think 12 or 14, you're considered plus size.
I thought it was
Yeah.
lower than that. That was like if
I
you're
thought it
over
was
a 6
8.
or an 8.
I don't know for sure.
It could have
Caused a
changed.
shitstorm
The
over
industry
here.
keeps getting
Yeah, it moves
stricter.
around and it depends on the company and it depends on the
Yeah, but
usage.
she was the first plus size model to go to the swimsuit issue, right?
She was the first plus size
For
model, I think, for
Sports and
Victoria's
Illustrators.
Secret, or was it Sports
I thought it
Illustrated?
was Sports Illustrated swimsuit
cover
edition.
on the swimsuit
Yeah,
edition.
she was also the first plus model on the cover.
What caused the shitstorm specifically, Musty? I'm just curious.
Here.
While we talk, could you explain that on
Ah.
our end? So
Tess Holiday.
So there,
yeah,
Tess
Do you
Holiday.
think if she didn't have those tattoos, she'd be on that?
well, I think so because
Like that's
Tess
a real.
Holiday,
That's a legit question. Do you think if she didn't have all those tattoos?
I mean,
Would
I
they
think
bother?
so, but that's because
Because tattoos are a real big, like, kind of sexy thing right now.
No, I totally get that, but she's been a sexy model on Instagram with 1.7 million followers for some time.
Oh yeah.
So she got picked for her ability to bring in content. She's a plus size Instagram model that has the kind of numbers that are a great introduction into mainstreaming.
Okay, so let's say she didn't have the Instagram following.
Yeah.
Do you
Well,
think
she
she'd
didn't
still
have-
have that cover shot?
No, because everybody knows, like, the cover
So
shots are made to be.
basically now it's either you build your own fan
Yeah.
base, you build up your numbers, and then we'll talk. Otherwise, you're fat. You're not going to be on the fucking cover.
Well, yeah, I mean that's kind of the truth of that's kind. I mean that's kind of the truth of anything. We're all expected to build our own bases now. No one's gonna pluck you, even in bands and stuff. Like it used to be that the A&R guys would go around looking for talent in
Yeah.
local places. That's not even a thing anymore. They literally get on YouTube and they get on SoundCloud and they listen for people that have a couple 100,000 followers and they say, okay, that person's worth an investment. The whole world.
Do
is
you
changing.
think they listen to the songs now, or do you think they just go, "Oh, hey, this guy's got enough followers. I don't even need to hear the music"?
It probably depends on the label. There are some respectable labels, although probably not as many as we would prefer. But I definitely we live in a world now where you are expected to build your own base before anyone will give you. It's like it's your resume essentially at this point. If you don't have to be, the difference is it's more important to say I've got 800,000 subscribers on SoundCloud than it is to say I produce like coherent good album tracks.
Yeah.
And there's nothing. I mean, it's true. I'm not saying that's always. There's always been bands that sold based on only popularity and not necessarily. I mean, that's the definition of pop music is music that's not necessarily intricate but is more popular.
So, Loreline, what is your personal view on what positivity is? Like, what what does one need to do to have positivity towards their body?
I think ultimately it just comes down to being comfortable in your own skin. I mean, I get what Musty's point was, that there's some situations where somebody may be considered clinically overweight or obese, but should that person feel bad about themselves? I mean, maybe they have a medical condition or something that's preventing them from losing that weight. There's a whole lot of things that it could be. So I think it's ultimately just being comfortable with yourself in your own skin. Is it okay to want to change yourself? Definitely. Is it okay to say, maybe I'm not the most happy with a certain part of my body or something? I'm okay with changing that. It's just, I'm not going to go out and be one of those people personally that's going to go out and get surgery to change those things. I will try to find something else to change.
Yeah.
But for example, if I'm overweight, I'm going to try my best to lose that weight by all natural means possible.
So Musty says the thing about Tess is that she suffered from terribly from mental health, and now she is happy. And it's kind of pretty much, you can see it with the pictures that are out of her and stuff now, with her on the cover and stuff. I think a lot of obese people kind of suffer something mentally.
I actually not I don't I just want to step in real quick. I think the real correlation would probably be the other way, and that people that suffer mental health issues tend to find things to try and make them feel better overall. I'm not saying that it can't go the other way, but it definitely tends to lean toward people with mental health problems becoming obese.
Well, I mean, like, it's a lot of people, they either suffer from recognizing themselves that they have the problem, or they suffer from their peers or support group or whatever telling them that they have a problem.
Yeah.
And then a lot of times that, I think, can lead to mental disease if it hasn't already set in from something else.
Yeah.
But I think body positivity, a little like what Laureline said, is just basically self-confidence and saying, yep, I'm this way and I love it, and you should love it too because I love it. Or it can also be, I'm this way, but I can make it myself better too.
And I think ultimately what it comes down to is not only how we're raising our children and what kind of examples that our children are seeing growing up, not only with their parents or guardians, but also in the media, and what images are being portrayed in the media as what's good, how should I look? And most kids, when they're growing up, they don't realize that there's a right or wrong way that they're supposed to look or act even. And then when they are faced with peer pressure, then they start finding things about themselves that, maybe they're different. Maybe they're different than what most people have, but that's what makes them unique. It's not necessarily a problem. It's not necessarily something that's wrong with them. So I think if we're going to talk about body positivity, we've really got to talk about the origins of that, not just dealing with body positivity and just deciding, hey, great, I like how I look, I'm happy with how I look. We need to look closer at what are we doing to not only future generations, but even our own children.
Yeah. And I think you touched on something really big for me. There is a lot of the body positivity movement that would have you believe that the sheer idea that you might want to change something about yourself is inherently caused by insecurity and things of that sort. But I definitely am with you with that. I don't believe that. I think for me, body positivity is just all about being able to feel good about yourself where you're at in the now, and not necessarily, and always feeling that way, whether you're not in a good place or you are in a good place and healthy. Um, but yeah, I'm with you on that. I think that a lot of people, when I was doing my research, I read both extremes, of course, and a lot of them lean toward the idea that if you do want to change, even the idea that you might want to lose a few pounds is you being antibody positivity, and I certainly don't believe that.
So what do you guys think that society as a whole, or what we should try to tell society? What do you think is the first step into making society um, quit fat shaming,
More accepting.
more accepting of people?
Yeah, if we could, it's unfortunate to say, but if we had figured that out, we wouldn't have a lot of problems, including racism and just all of the. It's so unfortunate because it's every time that we try to make a movement to make marginalized peoples, whether it be the body positivity movement, the Me Too movement, the if it's feminism, if it's body positivity, if it's racism, anything we try to correct, the people that shout the loudest are the non-marginalized communities saying basically, oh, why aren't we included? And it's frustrating because the non-marginalized people don't realize that the reason the marginalized group together is because they are marginalized. That's a lot of the word usage of that, but it's kind of
Yeah,
like anything. Like, like if you're sitting there, if you've got $20 in your pocket and you're ready to go to have a nice like lunch, and everyone around you has no money, and some guy's like, hey, here, why don't you all take $5 and go get some lunch? That guy with the 20 is still usually like, whoa, 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 where's my $5 too? Just because I brought my money doesn't mean I shouldn't also get rewarded. And the non-marginalized community really, uh, like and that the reason I keep using the vague word non-marginalized is because it changes based on the movement. In the movement with body positivity, it's people who just happen to be in shape and don't have any trouble with overeating. They don't have the mental health problems or things like that. With racism, it tends to be the white people. With the Me Too movement, it tends to be men. So it just kind of depends on each movement. But I think that until we start to realize that we the non-marginalized population needs to also protect marginalized movements, that we're always going to have that sort of dissonance that leads to them arguing and fighting. And
so
exactly what Musty said, of course, as well, with the fear of becoming marginalized. Nothing scares a white in shape male more than not being the main majority.
not being.
That's a huge thing, not only in our society as a whole, but especially in the United States. I
Yeah.
feel is a lot of this fear mongering
Oh
over
yeah.
not only body positivity and image and all of that, but other things as well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I'd have to agree that body positivity doesn't just fall under overweight, obese people. Body positivity can also go to people who are fighting to put weight on, like fighting with
Mm-hmm.
anorexia or
Well,
any kind of eating disorder,
Yep.
or
even if they don't have an eating disorder, there are people that are just naturally skinnier than others.
yeah,
And I think
Definitely.
a lot of times they get forgotten as part of this body positivity movement is
Yep,
that
they do.
there's some people that are just naturally that skinny, and they get comments left and right about you're anorexic, you must be bulimic or something. Maybe
Yeah.
you should go eat a hamburger or something like that. No,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that may just be how they are.
Yeah.
And if they're fine with it, why do you care? Why is it such a big deal to you how somebody else looks or feels about themselves?
Yeah, I'm with you guys. That's
I mean, just like
Yeah.
sorry,
No, no, go ahead,
how
go ahead.
I don't. It seems to be a little bit more brutal over in Britain, according to Musty, where like here we're all kind of like kept. We're a little bit more tame in public. Like when we're behind a screen and a keyboard, we'll fucking go off because
Mhm.
it's easy and we're protected. But when we're in public, we're not going to say, or at least the majority of us aren't going to say stupid shit like that. But apparently in Britain, where like Musty's just walking down the street and they're calling him a fat ass and all that shit, like.
Well, and I think what Musty's saying, or what Musty had said previously, is not that people are just walking down the street calling everybody fat. I don't think it's that. I think it's just that if you have a friend, you're just saying, hey, you I guess you may not have noticed, but I don't think it's like they're just walking down the street and saying you're fat and you're fat and you're fat and
Well, how would that make you feel if I were to like, hey Nick, you can stand to lose a few?
Yeah, well, it doesn't affect anyone well. I like to think of myself as having pretty thick skin. I'm a huge internet proponent. I spend almost 90% of my life on the internet, probably if not more. So I have pretty thick skin, and for the most part, it would take something that I was insecure about already to really get to me. And for the most part, I'm not insecure about my weight. Unlike anybody with weight problems, I'll have fat days where I look at myself and think, God, specifically, I'm sure, I don't know if you guys have this, so I think most humans do, but specifically, like, I'll see like a video of me and Tay when we were both like 80 pounds lighter and be like, oh shit. And it's not like I'm like, it's funny because it's not, again, me saying I've gotten fat. It's me thinking, holy shit, I looked really good right there.
yeah.
And that's sort of that's for me, that doesn't really form an insecurity. A lot of people you could call fat or tell them they need to lose weight, and it really would take a toll on their mental health. I'm lucky that it's just not something I am really self-conscious about. But other people are. Like I don't know how you guys feel
like
about that.
I don't know. I would just. I mean, obviously I'm fat. I mean, look at me. You think I don't fucking know? Like, I don't need you to tell me I'm fat. Like, I know I have the problem. I know how to take care of it. I don't need you to take it. You know.
I also think though that there's a huge double standard between men and women. That it's okay if a man has some extra pounds on him is the general idea that I get.
Yeah, typically.
But then if a woman gains weight, they can start calling her like a fat ass or whatever.
Which it's wrong. But I think the thinking behind it is that men are a little bit more, how you say, lenient with themselves. Like men when I see myself in the mirror, I'm like, wow, what a fat piece of shit. I'm like, oh hey, I'm kind of swollen in some areas, like got some muscle. Whereas like women, they're just tearing themselves down.
But they're only tearing themselves down typically because another man or woman has said something to them about that at some point in their life.
Yeah.
For example, I have several insecurities that when people say things about me, that's all that I can focus on. For example, I have a large forehead. I'll say it on camera. People tell me that it should be called a 5 head rather than a 4 head. Stuff like that. That sure, it may be funny at the time, but it still hurts. It's still, I can't change that. I mean, but now, of course, ever since that was said to me, I've been super self-conscious about the size of my forehead, or somebody said something to me about my nose being so large at one point. So then that made me get to that point of, oh my gosh, do I need to go get something done to my nose? Like, is it really that bad? Is it, it's usually other people pointing something out that they don't think is normal. Not on camera, normal. It's usually other people pointing something out.
Yeah.
And then I think people naturally just take that and run with it, and it snowballs from there. It just gets worse from there.
So what action do you want to be taken? Do you want people to just keep to themselves and don't say shit? Do you want people to only point out your positive things?
I mean, let's say, first of all, I guarantee you that 99.9% of overweight people are well aware that they are overweight.
Right.
Yeah.
and have probably been told that by a doctor. I know I dread going into the doctor all the time because they always tell me how overweight I am.
I go into the
Yeah.
doctor for like a broken foot, and he goes, "Well, that's because you're fat, motherfucker." It's like, "Have you been on a scale?"
Well, and then
He's like, "What's your diet? What's your calorie intake?"
that's just the thing. That was the next thing I was gonna say. Is that then the next thing that happens is they assume you're not doing something, that you're not doing something right because you're overweight. What they don't sit there and consider is the factors that led to that point. Not only eating habits that could be tied to emotional factors and stuff like that, but also just I think that I don't know. I guess I'm getting too fired up about this,
I
but
don't know. Get fired up.
but
This is where you're supposed to
because
get
it's
fired
such a
up.
personal thing that
Let the world
to go back
know.
to your question
What do you-
about what I
Yeah.
think that we should do.
What action do you think should be
Can we
taken?
just all be nice to each other?
Yeah.
Can we just
Can
we
all
just leave
play
each other
along?
alone
Can
and
we all
just
play fair and play along and
Can
share
we-
our toys?
For example, Tess Holiday, can't we just be happy that she got the cover on the Cosmopolitan magazine? Can we be happy that she's like one of the, if not the first, one of the first plus size models on the cover of a magazine? Does it matter that she is plus size or that she's maybe clinically obese? I don't personally think so, but I can see what Musty was saying earlier with some of the controversy that's in the UK right now. That
Mm-hmm.
does it glorify? Does it suggest to people that it's okay to be that way? Well, that's also at the same time suggesting that there's a problem with you looking that way too.
Yeah.
I don't think that there's a problem as long as you're happy with what you look like and you know the consequences. You know the consequences of being overweight. Everybody that's overweight knows the consequences of that.
Yeah.
Right, and that's kind of the point, right? Because I've read when I was doing my research, the joke over and over in multiple articles. I read for and against, but the overall joke being when the mean girl at the school calls the overweight girl like, "Oh, you fat whale," she's not like, "Hey, you need to be careful, or you might get type 2 diabetes later in your life." That's not what they're angling at. Because if someone like when a doctor says, "Hey, you need to lose weight. This needs to sort of happen," like that sort of is different than like if you have to yeah, smash get the fuck out of my face. But essentially that sort of is what I'm used to doing that while I'm like talking. Yeah, like it's when a doctor tells you, at least it's for a reason. I should have just let Musty eat him. I shouldn't have even banned him. I should have just let Musty at him. He would have had more fun doing that, and we would have gotten the bonus viewer. But yeah, like if when a doctor says, at least there's a point. You might get type 2 diabetes if you don't do this, and that's yours to do with whatever you want to do with
Yeah.
it. But when the cheerleader calls you a whale in high school, it's not because she's worried about your health. People
No.
are just again like
Just being mean.
yeah, they're just being mean, and they
They're
are worried by
putting-
things that aren't theirs.
V-shout. They're being mean to make themselves feel better, is what it is.
Exactly.
They're not
Yeah.
doing it to help you.
Exactly.
I
So,
think the only person really who should be able to say, "Hey, you're fat, do something about it," should either be if you welcome your doctor to say that to you, or your nutritionist, or your fitness instructor. People
Yeah.
you want to say that to you to help you better your life, they should be able to say it. But if you're walking down the street or you're trying to belong to some kind of organization or a team, should never say that, because they're not saying it to better, like you said, they're just saying it to put you down to make themselves feel better about it.
right.
So I think we should all just chill the fuck out.
I would just like to say to the person that Nick banned is thank you for proving my point that you are a horrible person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, one thing that really is affects all of us too, and kind of has to do with what you're talking about, is when doctors tell you that you're overweight, it's often right off the scale, right? I mean, that's most of us can
Mhm.
assume they don't tend to run tests
Yeah,
before they say you're overweight. And the reason for that is because I don't know if they still do it where you're from, Musty. I'm not sure,
musty.
but the BMI is still the index used in America. And
Yeah,
we've proven time and time again that the BMI, while applying fairly successfully to large numbers of data, if you scan 100,000 people, it is pretty true that the BMI can be a huge indicator for good. However, on a normal person by person basis, the BMI is extremely flawed, and that's what we tend to use. I remember joking about it because right after I got out of high school, I was still pretty I was still pretty muscular because I had done weight training my senior year as like one of my classes, and
are you
I
really
was
asking Musty that?
I was at
I
100
was just asking.
and
Gosh.
I was at
It's not
170,
like he hasn't said
I
it like
think
7 million
170.
times.
I was at
I'm so-
170 and I'm about 5'5". So what happened? I'm just getting the numbers
My
exactly.
fucking
What
dad's
happened
being
is,
Scooby Doo downstairs, apparently.
what are you doing with
My,
Scooby Doo?
my dad's doing his fucking Scooby Doo impression downstairs.
Oh, I can't. That's not picking up. But basically, the entire joke essentially being that for me, a healthy weight at 5'5" is about 130 pounds. And when I was 130 pounds, which I was, I literally looked like sickly. And when I was 170 after weight training, I fell on a 28, which I believe, if I remember right, is that obese or is that overweight? Let me get a scale real quick. It's been a while since I've checked the actual scale, but looks like all right, 5'5" and at 28, I was considered just under obese when I was at the fittest I had ever been in my life. I was 170, muscle, low body fat percentage. I was eating high in protein and I was weight training, and I was considered by all terms of purposes as being obese by my doctor because
Yeah.
I weighed the BMI was incorrect about me. And at this point, I am chubby. I am chubbier than I like, and it probably is affecting my health. But back then, my doctor would essentially be like, "Oh, you got to lose some weight," and I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me, dude? I'm literally like, I'm trim, I'm in shape, I'm muscular. Like, what the fuck are you?" And it's a joke. Like the BMI is a joke on a person by person basis,
Oh yeah.
and
Well, the problem with the
that's
BMI
frustrating.
is they just count for the weight number. They don't actually count the percentage of body fat.
Right.
So
Low
like
body
that
fat
weight is
percentage.
also your bones and your muscles and your bad
Yeah.
thoughts and shit. You
Well,
know.
and it also doesn't always affect. The truth is the world is just random. The same way that people can smoke for 100 years and not get cancer, and some people have one or two cigarettes or none and get lung cancer.
Yeah.
There's some people that could spend their whole life at 300 pounds and not get sick. They could just be fine. And then there's other people who, like me, just fluctuate occasionally between I gain weight for a year or two and then I lose it off as I get sick. And I'm at an ultra high risk for diabetes because of the fluctuation. So it's so person by person that it's frustrating that they're like, well, okay, the scale invented 200 years ago says you're fat. So, and you're like, well, that's really not helpful because there's a lot more to it than that. Why don't you tell me if I'm healthy, check my fucking blood pressure, and if, do check all my stats and tell me if I'm in shape or not.
Yeah. I mean that's kind of why I was like, if that information is wanted from your doctor, then they should have the ability to say it. But if you're going in to get checked to say like, oh, I have a cold that I can't get rid of, or my fucking foot is hanging by a thread. Can you? What are we doing here? And then they go, well, it's because you're a
Yeah.
fat motherfucker. That's why.
Well,
It's like, no,
that
you're
that's
body
Well,
the
shaming me
thing.
now.
they use that as such a common
They
scapegoat
they
to
do.
explain things. Like I completely get that weight affects a lot of things in your body. It puts
Yeah.
more pressure on your body to, like, it makes it harder for your body to do what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
And it causes problems like with your feet and your knees and basically anything in your lower extremities. It causes a
Yeah.
lot of issues
Yeah.
with, not to mention the complication of diabetes and all of that can occur. I think that is one of the biggest things. That's a big pet peeve of mine, is that I'll go in with a legit problem, and it doesn't matter that, for example, I went in with, I don't remember what it was, but I had went into the doctor because I was having pain, I think, in my back or something, or my feet, I think is what it was. And I went in and they just said, oh, well, it's just because you need to lose weight. And I'm like, well, but I
Right,
just got done
and the funny
losing
part-
40 pounds. And
the funny part is, like, they go, oh, you just need to lose weight. You just need to go home and undo that zipper on your back and just take off the body fat suit. You'll be fine. Like, fuck you, motherfucker.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
I went through, and I didn't have this pain when I was the heaviest of my life. I had this pain after I had lost 40 pounds. You
Yeah.
know, so don't tell me it's just because I'm overweight. I've been overweight the entire time. I just lost weight.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
and that brings me to another point, though, is that with this whole body positivity, if we want to tell people, I know we're focusing largely on weight here. That just seems to be the
Yeah.
most common
Well, I mean, we're all overweight.
issue.
Yeah.
I mean, yes,
Yeah.
but
Most of America's overweight.
guys
It's the
didn't-
biggest.
You guys
topic.
didn't realize it, but I just body shamed all of us.
by calling us all fat.
that's the trick, right? It's not, if you're body positive, it's not an insult to say you're overweight. Like, so technically you
Yeah.
shamed us with the comment about shaming us. Oh, that's what's weird about the movement, though, right? Because the whole point is to be able to say, I'm overweight, but I'm happy and I'm mostly like,
Yeah.
if you could say I'm mostly healthy, I'm mostly happy,
Evil.
and I'm overweight, that's the point of the movement.
Yeah,
Or rather, the
I
movement's,
love-
I guess, to say anything, but
I love what I see in the mirror, and you should love me for that.
yeah, I mean, for real though,
Yeah.
and it's also like, I would be. This is a really weird and personal thing, but I also am just more attracted to chubby girls personally. So like, if the whole world
Yeah.
was in shape, I would just be a little depressed about it. Like, if there was just no chubby girls out there,
Uh-huh.
that's a really oddly specific, because I'm not trying to turn girls' weight into a fetish for them. Like, I'm not saying, yeah, I'm not trying to like tell girls to eat more so that I can be happy or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I am more attracted to curvy body types and to chubby like women, and I think that's really unfair that people can think that you're sexy and attractive at any weight, and to outright take that away or to shame people because of that, whether they feel good or not. It's just people. I don't know what people's obsession with just keeping things to themselves, not being able to keep things to themselves is, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of people are like douche nozzles, but I don't just go around telling them that. I just keep that
Douche
shit to myself.
nozzles.
Yeah, like
That's a new insult. I have not
there's
heard that
there's
one.
1,000
Douche
people a day
nozzles.
that I see, and I'm like, oh, that guy's kind of a piece of shit. But I just let him be his piece of shit, because for the most part, it won't
Yeah.
affect me.
Well, I mean, like, whatever happened to, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all.
That
mean-
disappeared with the internet, my friend.
I guess it's true, but I mean, like, come on, like, okay, you think I'm fat, but why don't you keep that in your fucking head?
Yeah, it's
You know, like, compliment me on my beard.
people just can't they can't help themselves, because they have this total anonymity, and they don't have they have nothing to hold them accountable. Like, I guarantee you, if the three of us and Musty, if four of us are in a room, some guy's not calling us fat because he's getting his ass beat by a bunch of fatties. Like, you're just not gonna do it. But the total anonymity, the online, we have nothing to hold each other accountable, and because of that, they feel the freedom to say what they want with essentially no repercussions. Because it used to be that you had some form of repercussion, whether it was just as simple as getting pushed and being like, "Oh yeah, you think I'm fat? Why don't you fucking say that to my face?" Or as intricate as the being shamed for shaming people, and just making people feel bad for making people feel bad. But
Yeah.
right now we don't have any real accountability, which is why it's really fun when someone says something mean to somebody and then they get shamed off the internet on Twitter and have to like delete their accounts and shit. That's really
Yeah.
enjoyable to watch because it feels like some accountability finally.
Musty says he likes asking people about themselves. It's also funny when he sees people crumble under the questioning.
Right, because in the line of work that you do, King Cord, and that things like that, like we
I
show
work?
and we teach we teach people that almost all of the lashing out is insecurity from themselves to some degree. We
Yeah.
respond to fear with anger and overreactions, and that's almost always the case. So Musty's right. In almost every situation, if someone's like, "You're fat," you can pretty much say something like, "So your mom didn't love you," and they'll just break down crying and run off to the other room. Like
Yeah.
but then you don't want to do that because you don't want to shame somebody. So again, it's kind of this point where like people shame you, but you're a good person, so you don't shame them back. Because the truth is nobody adheres 100% to the standard like the American. I guess Mike Pence and his mayonnaise shirts and his mayonnaise eating and that's probably the closest, but like
Yeah.
nobody. I've never met a person that adhered 100% to the standard laws that that like they're in shape, they're white, straight, cisgender, like they are just absolutely that what the American dream should be, like that bullshit. Like I've never met someone that adhered to that, and so there's something you could shame on every person I've ever met, essentially.
He
Brett
eats
Sandy.
bread sandwiches.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like I've never met someone that could just like inherently cut with his. He probably cuts the crust off his bread sandwiches. Uh, but yeah, like the thing is you wouldn't want to shame somebody back, and if you do, then you're kind of stooping to that level, and you would feel bad afterwards whether they did or not, and that
Yeah.
feels shitty because it would be really nice to open somebody up after they would do that to you.
So I
Yeah.
think if we talk about body positivity and talk about, for example, the obesity epidemic that the entire world is facing, but
Are we still in
especially
that epidemic?
in the United States,
Yeah.
yes.
Are we just like, okay, it's here, whatever?
It
I-
gets worse. Well, it's just because that's what I mean. Like they look for it, but it's been growing long before the movement. Do you guys feel like I know we kind of touched on this already, but just in your overall personal opinions, do you think the body positivity movement is linked to the obesity crisis? Not okay, linked is a bad word because obviously they're linked, but do you guys think
It's more
that
associated with obesity.
yeah, do you think body positivity causes people to be okay with being obese, or do you think that it's not like that at all?
I think it makes people feel a little bit better about being obese. What do you think?
I feel like it's a double-edged sword thing. Like I feel like
You think it's bad
yes,
and good?
because I feel like I get the point that it makes people think that it's perfectly okay to be medically obese or medically overweight, clinically whatever. But in the same respect, it also makes it more tolerable for those people that are in that situation, because kind of what you alluded to earlier, it's not easy to lose that. It didn't take overnight to put that weight on. It's not going to take overnight to get rid of it. No matter what you do, even if you did have a surgery, you do lose quite a bit, and you lose dramatically over the next coming months. However, it's not an overnight thing. It's not a snap your fingers and it's all better.
Well, one of the problems is that we don't really have the how do you say, we don't have the exact answer to how to lose weight properly. Everyone wants to say it's exercise, and then there's another side that says it's completely diet. Then there's another side that says it's chemical balancing, or
Well, and then
it's
you've got
stress
all
related, or
the
it's
fad dieting.
yeah.
And the truth
blood
is there's
type
no fit.
diet.
There really
like,
isn't no fit, and a lot of it, I think, has to do with it's kind of individualized, and what I
Yeah.
mean by that is like there's no like one size fits all to a weight loss program. It's kind of whatever works for that individual.
Well,
Yep.
and what I think that comes down to is the fact that there are so many things that we don't understand how our body works still in a lot of these different ways. We don't understand how our body processes certain foods. We don't understand how the impact, I guess, of certain foods. Like, for
Yeah.
example, for the longest time, they've been saying you can have wine at the end of the day. That's healthy, right?
Yeah.
Well, now they just released another study that says, nope, actually, just kidding. All alcohol is bad.
Yeah, it's just like with the
Or
milk
smoking.
program. We used to
Yeah.
have a milk program where they would say milk is really good. It's a
Yes.
great source of protein, great source of calcium. It's really good for you. Now they're saying it's not good for you. In fact, they're saying that because of some of the not pesticides, but like
Hormones.
hormones and
there you go.
steroids that they put in the foods for the cows and the calves and everything that fucks with the milk, and then that's why men have moobs or male boobs. So, but I mean, I still drink milk because I like milk. But
Well,
Yeah,
and there's so much, a lot of it I think stems from distrust overall, because a lot of things that have been these campaigns or whatever, for example, the whole got dairy, got milk,
Yeah.
drink
Yeah.
your milk thing,
mhm.
that was all paid for by corporations
Right.
that wanted to increase their sales.
Well,
They
that
had
was it. Wasn't
no-
even that. It was the dairy farmers were taking a huge hit, and so a lot of, I think even the government got involved and
Well,
made these
yeah.
campaigns saying, "Hey,
Mhm.
you guys need to drink milk. Milk is really good for you. Got milk,
Yeah.
put this shit on your upper lip, and you're gonna look
Same
cool."
thing, just like since we're from Nebraska, got beef, like
Got beef.
It's what for dinner. It's what's
Don't
for dinner.
forget-
I've got beef.
Don't forget your corn. You could put corn in anything, even your gas tank.
So I think it's just we need to know more, and I think it needs to start from an earlier age. I mean, I think they're doing some things in school about teaching nutrition and
Well, I
teaching,
mean, like Jamie, was it
movement.
Jamie Oliver came
Jamie
over
Oliver.
from Britain. He came over. He was trying to be the hero we need.
yeah.
He was the hero we need, but
Jamie
we don't
Oliver
necessarily
tried to
want right now.
revolutionize because
He
in
came
the
over
state of-
here. He tried to fix our school lunches because he thinks that is our problem. Pizza is considered a vegetable. French fries is considered a vegetable, and nobody wants to cook with organic, natural foods.
because
And then they all
organic
laughed
costs
him out
more.
of the country. And then he came back and he's like, "Hey, let's okay, I can't fix your kids, but hey, let's try to fix your fast food. Try to get some like actual wholesome organic ingredients in your fast food." And we then turned around and said, "Ha ha ha, Jamie Oliver, we want our shit to be shitty and fatty and full of salt. So get out of here."
Well,
It's
and then
true.
he tried to change government policy as well. And we even said, well, we see the evidence there, but that would cost a lot of money. So no thanks. Like, we'd rather just continue this line of diabetes and other health issues
Yeah.
that are affecting our country.
Yeah.
But well, you got to remember also, it is partially. I mean, there's a lot of it that's not the American people's fault, but some of it is because
Yes.
if they offered an organic burger at Burger King that tasted better and was better, but cost $10, I'm not paying $10 for burger for fast food. Like,
Well, and
I
here's
would
the
just
thing.
cook at home for that price.
Here's the shitty thing that our country does too, which McDonald's was caught doing, was that they turn around and they make these like little campaigns where they're like, "Oh, hey, we're switching our beef to 100% beef."
Yeah.
But the way they get away with that is they just rename the beef that they're making the patties with as 100% beef.
Well, actually, in the United States, the qualifications, and this is kind of what Musty was talking about with our food standards being so low, is that in order to call something 100% beef, I'm pretty sure it has to be comprised of 60% or more actual beef.
Yeah.
So
Right.
therefore, you're saying that I can have beef with 40%
Yeah.
not
Like
beef.
filler.
It can be filler
Yeah.
or whatever other crap that they throw
Yeah.
into it.
And then you can name it 100% beef.
And you can say
Yeah,
it's
they
100% beef.
But I mean, like,
Also, Musty's right just about
Yep.
the subsidization. Part of America's problem is because we have so much food production in the Midwest and stuff. Almost all of our vegetables, anything that's grown in the U.S. or whether it be food to any capacity, is pretty much subsidized by the government. So they have a
mhm,
stake in pushing it and making you eat it to one end
yeah,
or another.
yeah.
They
It
profit.
is. Have you seen McDonald's cows? I have
I
not. Pull up McDonald's cows.
I'm pretty notorious for eating
This is
things
actually
without
kind of
trying to do
nice.
too much research. You know what I mean?
This is
Being
kind of
able to
nice that
dictate
I
to
can
me.
bark at Julia, like, pull that up right now, because she's got the
Yep.
laptop.
But yeah, like,
it's
go ahead.
it's like the whole thing about like when Jamie Oliver was here and he was showing children what chicken nuggets were made out of, and it was
Yeah.
he basically he like said these are all the good cuts, and then here's the carcass, and they're like okay,
Yep.
and he puts the carcass in like the food processor, grinds it up, and then like, he's like, these are your chicken nuggets. Do you still want some? And like, yeah, that's chicken nuggets, man. Like,
Yep.
it's so sad.
Musty, it's the antibiotics, testosterone, and sadness that make it taste so good.
And another thing that's sad in this country is how we treat like Tyson. Have you seen their like hangars of like where they keep the chicken for
Yeah.
their products? It's like they're so overcrowded, they're so puffed up with steroids and hormones that they're so fat they can't even walk hardly, like flap their fucking wings.
Yeah, I watched a whole special specifically on the chicken growers and how they actually specifically like if you speak out against them, they give you worse chickens so that you can't
Yeah.
make as much money and put you out of business.
Well, another
They
thing
literally
was,
go out of their way to they make you like keep them in the dark and unflyable and
yeah.
things like that.
Well, another thing is that they were like, if you want to be a Tyson farmer, you have to, as like an ungodly amount of money, like pull out of a loan that there's no way you're ever gonna pay off by the end of your lifetime.
Yeah.
And you get like a shitty hangar with no light and a bunch of chickens in it. You can barely walk in, and here you are with a goddamn.
Yeah.
What is it called? Here you are with a fucking Bobcat, which is a small
Mm-hmm.
forklift with a scoop on it, basically.
Yeah.
And you're scooping up dead chickens. And
For real.
It's
And
like,
I'm not even an animal rights activist to the point of like I don't have a problem with someone hatching a chicken, growing it up like on a farm, and then killing and eating that chicken. Like I've got no problem with that.
yeah,
But there's a limit to where at the point where like Musty's saying where they're burning their feet and they have chemical burns from their own urine as they scoop them up dead from the floor. Like there's something about that no matter whether you're okay with animals being raised in captivity and murdered for meat or not, there's just something wrong with it overall.
yeah.
I
And
just told Cord that I found when I was trying to search for the cows, McDonald's cows, I came across something from PETA
Oh God, PETA! Don't
that
get me
was
started on
PETA!
fucking PETA.
that was showing insider video
PETA.
of
Terrorist motherfuckers.
cows that were going to be made into burgers for McDonald's.
they were going to be made into double quarter pounders.
And how it was like that these cows are supposed to be killed with like a shot to the head.
Yeah.
And they were showing video of this being done to these cows where they do the one shot in the head and then they go hang them upside down by their feet and they cut
Yeah.
their throats, and
They
that's
have
how
like,
they're
they have the pneumatic like
yes
hammer gun, and they just like
so that's what I was
Yeah.
watching, but then it was saying that that's supposed to kill them. However,
Sometimes
if
it
it
doesn't
wasn't
do it.
killing them, which it doesn't always work,
right.
they were still doing the normal process so they could feel
Yeah, they're just
everything.
like whatever, next one.
Yeah.
And then they just kill it, like they just stick a fucking hook in it and
And,
just kicking.
right now I have it paused on a screen of a cow that has a bloodied face because I just can't even.
Well, there's a
can't-
documentary on Netflix. I think it's
You
like
gotta
the
be
food industry or
really
something.
careful with that. Just real quickly, PETA is known to make shit up though. Like
That
that's
is true.
PETA's the kind of people that that are like the anti-abortionists that hold up dead babies, being like, "This is what abortion is," when you're just
Yeah.
scraping a few cells off the wall. So I'm not saying that's not real and not a real problem, but PETA is a bunch of terror. They're labeled a terrorist organization. They are homegrown terrorists that
Yeah.
are extremely unreliable with their information. But that being said,
But
go
they
on.
also kind of shed light on a lot
They
of
do.
it.
They have good motives. It's kind of like anything. Like you should like have the people that are real animal rights activists should be anti-PETA. If
Yeah.
I find somebody that's an animal rights activist and is anti-PETA,
Like
I know that person is a real animal
like
rights activist.
Trent Reznor.
Yeah, they get it right sometimes. The thing with PETA that's annoying is they fuck up like 50% of the time, and then
Yeah.
50% of the time they do good work. So it's just they're just real extreme.
Yeah, Musty's right. They've been caught. Like they themselves have killed animals to try to like make a
Yeah,
point or
to like
something.
to make up the hoaxes. Like
Yeah.
they've been caught killing animals and posting pictures of
I
them
think they were-
essentially being like, "Look at what monsters do."
Yeah, I think they were caught once like skinning snakes or alligators or something, and like this is what they do to make your boots. It's like motherfucker, you just did that.
Yeah, and it's just. But that being said, go on with the overall story.
Yeah, go on about killing cows, Julie.
Like,
I
you were
don't
gonna say
know if
something.
I
What was it,
want
that?
to
then
anymore.
then the butchers get down on their hands and knees and they just lick up the blood off the floor
That's what
like
I mean.
little
That's what they want.
kittens.
They're like they enjoy it. They jerk off while they
Yeah.
cut your meat, and you're like, what?
Look at this butcher. His face is all red with cow's blood.
The
Musty
Task of the
says
Blood.
what? Yeah.
I'll do that, Musty. I love documentaries.
Oh yeah, the Task of Blood. No, I think there's another one on Netflix. I think it's called like Food Inc. or something. But they also show you the process.
There's a lot of good documentaries on Netflix. That there's like that Food Inc. There's the Forks Over Knives. There's GMO OMG.
Yeah, Forks Over Knives.
There's a lot of those good.
To bring it back to body positivity.
I know we're not the world's best at staying on topic, but that fits with
No.
our name because we're like I feel like that the Nevermind podcast. You get off topic, they're like, yeah, never mind, back to the real thing.
Yeah. It's from
In
the
a
90s.
universe where our opinions still don't matter.
The Task of the Blood documentaries from the 90s is what Musty said. But I mean, yeah, like I agree
as
a
old
lot.
as
A
we
lot
are.
of yeah. Well, I was born 1990. Julia was born 91.
91.
91 here too.
Oh, look at you! Look at both of you.
We're gonna
I
we're
was
gonna go
really
off
young.
now and go
You
have
guys
some
are-
waffles
My
together.
little
birthday's
babies.
in May. I didn't even turn 18 until like a month before graduation.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
1980.
It was 1980. Oh, Musty was born 1980.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
At first
Musty
I thought
and
that's
I are
when he
zero
was saying
babies.
Zero babies.
the documentary came out.
Oh no, he said that came out in the 90s.
Okay.
But anyways, I will agree. Like, the majority of the problem is our food that we eat, but it's just also it's a huge range of things.
Well, and
Well,
it's
You talked about exercise earlier and just about nutrition. I think it's really I know that I can't stop it. Nobody can stop it because it's like something that will always affect humans with their insecurity, but I think it's really irresponsible the way they do dieting fads, which are mostly harmful to like they trick chubby people that want to look good
I
into
wouldn't say
hurting
mo-
their bodies. What'd you say?
I would say they're like slightly harm. They're
Well,
yeah, the majority of them are harmful, is what.
Yeah, well,
You said mostly. I thought you said most of them were like not harmful.
no, yeah, most of them harm you like directly.
Yeah.
Like, almost all the fad diets have actual repercussions and pain like to your body associated with it one
Yeah.
way or the other. And I think that that's really irresponsible to spread like false data to make money and hurt. Like, well, if it didn't hurt people, to maybe I wouldn't have as much of a problem with it. But to promise somebody that they can look better, feel better, and then not only not doing that but hurting them in the process, I find really detestable. But it's just frustrating because we do know some things. We know, for example, that the reason the dieting is important is that certain things take things to absorb. You can drink all the calcium you want, but if you're deficient in vitamin D and E, the calcium doesn't go to your bones. You need things to carry it. So like like we do know some things. We know we need we need a wide diet so we can get lots of different vitamins. We know that if you put on muscle, that muscle does slowly eat fat. So if you keep yourself muscular. But the problem with that is, guess what? You have to eat a lot to do that. You have to eat a lot of calories to put on the muscle, to eat the fat. And most diets are pretty much all like, don't eat anything, basically. And realistically, the fastest way to lose weight for men, it changes for women because women can't put on muscle mass the same way.
Yeah.
But the quickest way to lose weight for men is to actually boost your calories to like 3,000 a day, eating a lot of protein and brutally like tear up your muscles essentially. And that is different for women, but for men, that you can drop weight within a year. You could easily be down 30 or 40 pounds and be eating a good amount of like food, but they don't teach us that because that doesn't fit the narrative of doing the fat diets and not eating enough and things like that. Because guess what? You can exercise all you want, but if you don't eat, your body's going to be too tired to exercise. You've got to eat like food, otherwise you can't exercise.
Yeah. Musty said the problem is that people automatically think about fat people when it comes to body positivity. Self-image should be taught in schools everywhere. The amount of kids who are stressed and self-harm is disgusting.
True.
Yeah, it's it's really alarming and disheartening to see a lot of young kids, because
It's starting
I don't know
even
about you
younger
guys,
than I
but,
feel
like-
like it ever did with us. It's
Yeah,
getting
like-
worse at a younger age.
I never really even noticed it when I was younger. So like seeing it now today, you know, like there was we saw on the news not that long ago, like an 8-year-old who like killed himself.
There was a
because-
9-year-old boy in Colorado, I believe, but he wanted to come out to his class that he was gay.
Yeah.
And as soon as he came out, it was like the day or two after he started getting made fun of so much that he ended up taking his own life. A 9-year-old.
Yeah.
A 9-year-old should not have to worry about that. I mean, more power to him if he wants to come out to his classmates and say that. There should not be this sort of negative backlash for anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just
Yeah,
it's
Musty,
really,
it made me really. I sat
It's
back
really
because my son, our son,
yeah, our son's 7 years
is
old.
almost 8 years old, and I can't
Yeah.
even think of our son having to even worry about that.
Like you
Right.
you can't even imagine them having those kind of thoughts.
Right.
That's really brutal.
Yeah, and it's just it and you feel kind of helpless a little bit because you're like, what can I do? Like, you know.
Right. And it's especially sad at that point because, Musty just said it too. He beat me to it. It's really unfortunate that, like most, if not none, 9-year-olds are thinking about it from a sexual point of view. So Musty already beat me to it, but it's not like that kid was like thinking about having like, it wasn't like he was coming out being like, I want to have sex with men or anything. He was saying
Yeah.
that he likes men and he wants to be able to like and love men. And like at that point, 9-year-olds only know like so much about love and ideally nothing
Well, yeah,
really about sex. Like,
and they don't know about themselves too much. I mean, you know, he could be saying he's gay now, but who's to say he doesn't experiment or just decides later that he likes something else? And not to
Well-
say that there's anything wrong with being gay. I'm just saying like.
Yeah.
He
nobody
had
knows
such,
who they are sexually.
Yeah,
at
nobody
9.
knows who they are, and he had so much more life to where he could have experienced it, but it's because it wasn't the norm, and everyone picked on him and made fun of him. He thought that it was wrong, and that he was basically doing something wrong, and that the only way to get out of it was to end his life, and that's just sad.
Yeah, exactly what Musty is saying. Like that kid probably had a crush. He had a crush on another 9-year-old boy, and
Yeah.
the fact that everyone would shame that so aggressively. But yes, that it's a great thing to bring up in body positivity. Technically, body positivity does encompass like a lot of the same morality and issues as LGBTQ. There's a lot more letters. I can't always remember them. I've got to really start to memorize them. But LGBTQ plus, I think, is a safe one to go with. But a lot of them, it's disgusting that anyone would do that, like, to a kid, man. I mean, it's just a kid.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, sorry.
if you think about it, I mean, we were all not to that extent, of course, but we were all kids facing some of the same backlash for how we looked back then. Granted, I don't think it started at 9. I mean, kids don't have that thought in their head that maybe I shouldn't say that. You know, maybe that's not a nice thing to say.
Well,
They
I
tell
think,
it like
like,
it is.
When we were younger,
But
we didn't, or at least I don't know. This is probably my experience. I guess I can't branch it out over everyone, but when we discovered the word gay, it was just another fun curse word to say, but we didn't really kind of know what it meant, or we did, but we didn't really actually understand it fully, and we just kind of threw it out there like, ha, you're gay or whatever, like, oh, if you're a fag or whatever. But it wasn't like saying, oh, what, you like fucking other dudes, you know? It was more just like, it was like a slur, it was like a curse word or whatever.
There was no movement, and if there was
Yeah.
a movement, we didn't all have smartphones in our pockets that told us there was a movement every day. Like, we didn't know any better. And it's not an excuse, but it certainly is a reason, I guess would be the right word.
well, and I think another thing that we need to talk about too with body positivity, it is something that's physical, is that disabilities or handicaps of any sorts, is that there's also a lot of lately, especially, there's been a lot of more positivity surrounding say people with Down syndrome or something that have been able to, like, I think they had the first model that has Down syndrome.
Yeah.
And I mean, things that maybe to everyday people may not seem like that big of a deal, but I think one little achievement, one little battle at a time, we're starting to see the body positivity movement impact things in more ways than I think we could have imagined.
Yeah. Battles win wars.
Yeah.
And ultimately, I think that's the point of the body positivity movement, is that if something as simple as just somebody else telling you it's okay to be happy with how you look, even if other people don't think it's normal, it's okay to feel that way. And if that saves somebody's life or saves somebody's physical well-being because of that, then I'm a full supporter of the body positivity movement.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's just, there's so many layers to it, especially when you get into disabilities. Like, I'm scared to think of how many people would, like, literally, like, leave their partners if they had an accident bad enough to, like, one of the models that I follow on Instagram has a colostomy bag because she had, like, a severe, like ischemia or something. They had to take out a huge part of her intestine, and she still models with her colostomy bag, and they even make unique ones for her and stuff. But, like, the idea that people would be like, oh, sorry, you got sick, now you don't get to feel beautiful anymore, like, you don't get to have, like, your partner, like, you think you're beautiful, or you don't get to have good sex anymore or anything because guess what, you got sick, you drew the short stick. And, like, that's really brutal that people would feel that way. And it makes me a little, there's a lot of things that make me believe in humanity, and that's one of the things that troubles me about humanity.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should, like Musty suggested
Musty
earlier.
can weigh in on it, I'm sure, as being someone that has a prosthetic. I'm sure he can weigh in on it pretty heavily.
Yeah, I think that we should teach body positivity in schools, and we should adjust our advertising and media.
I think it's bigger to do that. Here's the thing. I think that teaching in schools would be a great idea in theory, but I think it will open up to more teasing if we don't prep it more in the media first. You know, like, because sitting in class with the chubby girl sitting in class with the mean girls, having to have everyone learn about positivity around each other, I think opens it up to sort of like more mocking. So,
well, I mean, like,
ideally, we get it to a better place.
I don't think that it's far-fetched to think that we can make it acceptable, because I mean, there's like, look at a lot of things, like being a gamer, what used to mean that you were antisocial and you know, and all that shit. Now it's like everyone's a gamer, and everyone's house has some sort of video games. And it used, you know, like back in the day, tiny butts were in, but then all of a sudden fat butts are liked, and now fat butts are generally seen as like, you know, big thick booties are nice.
Thanks, Sir Mix-a-Lot.
Yeah. So I think we can get body positivity in there. We should, yeah, I think we should start with media, but I also think that it should be in schools. You know.
Yeah, and there's some good things about it. Hilariously, there's a lot of porn that really is good for body positivity, but it's tricky because porn, by the same turn as being body positive, tends to also fetishize it, and the kind of
Yeah.
joke there being that
It kind of
it shouldn't have to be a fetish. It should be, if you're truly accepting it, it shouldn't be like, oh, I'm into big girls. It should just be,
yeah,
like
I'm into
if you're
big
into that
girls
body type, you
when
are,
my
yeah, but you shouldn't have to click it the same way you click like a type of porn. Like you shouldn't have to click it the same way you click like latex gimp, like
yeah.
essentially. Not that I click latex
I only
gimp.
like big girls when I'm home alone and all the doors are locked
Yeah,
with my
that's
laptop. You know.
you shouldn't have to experiment with big girls the same way you experiment with like a little bit of BDSM one day. That's offensive and that's not good. But
No, we should
in
get
some
we should get big girls and leading roles. We should and big men too, and we should get.
I think just not
people
only just big people, but we just need to get more diversity in our.
diversity.
we need to quit picking
So
the
not
most
just
beautiful
big,
people, the most
not
perfect
average
people.
size. We need to get some that are on the skinnier side,
Yeah.
some that are just people that look different than the
get the
traditional
skeletons.
narrative that we see today.
We need to get.
Don't say skeletons.
We
That
need
sounds
to get
offensive.
the big.
That is really
Is
offensive,
it?
actually. Yeah, that is. I would not say that.
Yeah,
sorry.
but yeah, it's easy to default to overweight, but obviously there's lots
Yes.
of different ones. It's easy to default to overweight because America is so overweight as a country that tends to be our largest problem. But that's certainly not to say that the other marginalized groups don't belong in the positivity movement.
Not to mention when we personally deal with some of
Yeah.
that, that's usually what our minds are going to go to first. Is
This is really out of nowhere, but at the very beginning, Cord, you asked me if I was self-conscious when somebody called me fat.
Yeah.
I don't know why it just popped into my head when Julie was just saying that, but hilariously, the thing that really messed with me the most is like when I would get out of the hospital unable to eat for months and people would say, "Hey, you really look great." That actually, people saying, "Wow, you look great and skinny," that actually took a much higher mental toll
Yeah.
on me, being like, "Oh my God, this person likes me the most when I'm fucking literally unable to eat because I'm too sick."
well, then the question is, what do you think I looked like before? If I look
yeah,
great now,
exactly.
Yeah.
why?
I don't know why that just popped in my head, but yeah, it's actually the opposite. When people would compliment me after I would be out of the hospital and sick for like months on end, like that was more offensive than someone calling me chubby. Because most of the time I maintain being chubby to some degree, not usually this much, but I've always kept weight on me because I never know when I'll get sick enough that I can't eat for a couple months, and I actually need the weight on me just to like keep me out of the hospital.
Yeah. So I think we should put non-perfect people and leading roles. Start talking, shed a little good light on people who
It's
are
getting
not.
better.
Yeah, it's getting better, but I think we still need to work on it.
I
Yeah,
think
no,
we need
most
to somehow introduce it into not only our school and education system,
Yeah.
but just into the media as a whole. Because the whole thing was, for example, Victoria's Secret. I'm going to call you out for a second. The whole fact that Victoria's Secret would not use plus size models in the Victoria's Secret fashion show is complete
Yeah.
and total bullshit.
Yeah, I mean,
Because
like,
they claim that it's not going to sell as many bras and panties, but
Yeah.
I don't know about you. My personal opinion is that I think it looks better on the women that are actually going to end up buying this. That's just my opinion.
I mean, have you seen the Victoria's Secret shows?
I've seen one or two. I had a scuzzy roommate at Wayne that made me watch one. Like he was like watching it while I was playing video games.
A scuzzy? I mean, like a
Well,
scumbag or like?
Yeah, scumbag. Like
Oh, okay.
he was watching it because he's like one of those people that's like, oh no, I was totally watching it because I'm interested in the show.
Yeah, like I'm interested for like the music and shit.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
well, I was just gonna say like all those women, like they were like screened and shit, and they're like the perfect of the perfect.
Yeah, that's their
I
specialty.
we should get someone like Ashley Graham on there.
Yeah.
Like yeah, she's selling a lot of clothes and things, and
Well, yeah. And well, here's the
I
thing,
would
and
assume
I
so.
must have mentioned something similar earlier. The truth is it's really hard to get the body positivity movement right where we want it as far as that, like getting people into shows, changing modeling,
Yeah.
changing acting, because the well, let me just look real quick. Let me just get a fact. How much? Let's see.
Fact.
How much did dieting make last year? Let's just check the industry. Okay, so U.S. weight loss market is worth 66 billion as of 2017.
Yeah.
So every time that one of us says, "Hey, you don't need to lose weight," those guys lose $1 billion, 100 million, 500 million, and because of that, they get 66 billion. They drop 5 billion on everything they can to prove that you need to shut up and let them make you healthy. That's what they do. They lobby. Lobbyists and the way the American government works with lobbying and they make 66 billion. You know what you can do with 66 billion in funding? I mean, you can make anything seem like they can make you feel like you shouldn't be fat with 66 billion dollars.
Yeah. Well, like Fruit of the Loop has a good campaign of.
Did you say Fruit of the Loop?
Yes, he did.
I went
Okay, I
Fruit
wanted
of the
to make
Loom.
sure. I started to worry that I was having Freudian slips about being fat, and I'm just hearing food at this point.
Fruit,
Now I
Fruit of the
really want
Loom.
Fruit Loops.
Fruit of the Loom.
I can eat some fucking Fruit Loops though.
Dove soap.
Dove, yeah, the Dove had a big body positivity movement.
There's a couple of them, but they've all started, and I think we all need to follow online. Like
Musty.
Silly rabbit.
cereal. Do they have Fruit Loops in Britain? And
I'm sure.
and tricks.
That's gotta be worldwide.
Yeah. But anyways, we need to follow. These guys are the good role models, and I think we need to follow them. And I think Sports Illustrated is starting to get in there too. They're starting to get on there because I mean they got Ashley Graham. They got some. I think they got like 2 more plus models.
I think
Yeah.
along with the body positivity movement is I think that a revolutionary change for especially women. I know it would help men as well, but couple things for women, if we could get some universal sizing, that would be fantastic.
Universal
because I should
sizing.
not be able to
Let me
Where
tell you something about universal
one
Wear a
size.
12
size.
one place and wear a 16 another.
exactly
I'm
that
like
is
an extra large at fucking Hot Topic, but like a medium at a normal store.
Right.
Well, that, but like you order something offline and it's from
$9.
Japan,
Fruit Loops aren't worth $9, man.
and it's from Japan, and you're like, well, I fit in a 4X here in America, so I'll order a 4X, and you get it, and it's like
They don't
a
make enough
4X.
X's. Yeah, Japan doesn't make enough X's to fit an
Yeah.
American person.
It's like a small.
So not only that, universal sizing, but the second thing is why do we have to have separate stores for plus size clothing? Why do we have to have separate sections for plus size clothing?
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
the majority of the population in the United States at least is overweight and falls into the plus size category.
There's only a few stores that I can shop at, and those stores are also online. I can't. There's nowhere here.
yeah, they
No,
don't
there's
carry it
only-
in store.
There's only like 2 or 3 places here that I can go in
With, like,
that has a big and tall.
like,
And
yeah.
the funny part is what they consider big and tall is like 2X and 3X, and I'm like, oh wait, what a great waste of fucking
Well,
time.
and so why is it that I can be, and not only me, but you have had the same situation as well. I'm sure Nick's has as well. But
Yeah.
when you go into a
fitting our
store,
big
why
dicks?
are
Mine's
we?
kind of the reverse. I have the world's shortest legs. I'm 5'5". Like I'm small. So beyond like one of the biggest problems for me is like if I, especially being like where I'm at now, like a great example, and I'm trying to kind of hide it, but it drives me crazy. But like if when I bought this shirt, the like oh god damn it, this way. The arms like come down to my elbows, and my actual neckline comes down to like here because I'm chubby, but I'm also tiny. So all the shirts are made for someone assuming that if you need this size, you're also going to be taller and stuff. But like,
Yeah.
I literally, there's nowhere that sells jeans that I won't tear up in a pair of Chucks. I would need like 28 leg like length, and there's nowhere in America you can buy under 30 without again special shopping. So I literally can't, like you guys. I have kind of the reverse problem from you, Cord. I can't buy a pair of jeans that won't just drag 50 feet past me and I'll tear up in a week. Like
Yeah.
I look like somebody like trying to like get in their dad's clothes. Like
Yeah.
So why is it that just because we don't fit the standard cookie cutter mold of a human being, why
petite
do we
French
get
models.
deprived of some of those experiences? Like why can't I go in and have fun with my friends and go shopping and try on stuff,
Well,
which is, you know, the stereotypical
all the cool
thing to
looking,
do.
all the great, awesome, like graphic tees and just like all
Yeah.
the cute little outfits are only for the small people. And then, like,
Yep.
if you manage to find a store or a department in that store that caters to your size, you get kind of like a fucking minimalistic kind of general look.
yeah.
I mean,
But-
they've definitely plus size clothing has gotten better.
Yeah, but it looks like
But-
old lady garments all the time for women, and for guys, it's just kind
it's
of like
getting better.
it's
With
just a
places like Torrid.
basic.
Yeah, for example, Torrid is literally the only place that I can go that I can feel confident that I can go in there and find at least one item
Yeah.
that fits me correctly. But I can't go into any other store and do that.
That's good though, right, Musty? I mean, that's again, body positivity for me doesn't mean that you shouldn't want to be healthy and get in
Right.
shape and
Yeah.
even want to lose weight if you choose
Telma!
to. Thank you, Telma. Same to you.
Doesn't matter how you look.
Same to
you're
everyone.
Awesome, Nixit. Yeah,
I
you're
I always
awesome,
feel
Nixon.
bad for. I know not everyone is as sexually motivated as me either, but I just feel so bad because I knew so many friends and online, like, because I was friends with a lot of girls online, and I knew so many people that were like jealous of like all their friends being able to like easily go to the bar and pick somebody up, and like I knew so many friends that were afraid, like they were literally like afraid to try and court and have sex with like people because they were so ashamed of their bodies they didn't even want to do things like be naked in front of another human being.
Mhm.
And I've never had that thing. I'm lucky, I guess, but I just can't imagine anyone feeling so much shame about their body that they are afraid to like be naked with another human being. And I just I can't live in a world where I let that stand, which is why I try to be really sex positive and body positive on my stream.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't get why. I hate the idea that there are people afraid to just look at their own body or have other people look at their body.
Well, I mean, like, I think that we should just. How would you introduce body positivity into schools? Would you have it as a part of health class, even though now health class is kind of like an elective now? It's not even just forced
Health
on.
class is kind of a joke. I don't even know
health
why.
health class is like 1 foot out the door, isn't it?
Well, because they don't teach anything helpful. Because again, like we
let
said,
alone they don't even teach sex ed in most states
they
anymore,
don't teach sex. They
other
don't
than
teach sex.
abstinence.
Yeah, they teach an abstinence-only approach. They don't teach sex ed. Nobody knows what a vulva is. They don't like.
Is that a
they
car?
don't- Yeah, right. Yeah, I know what a vulva is. My dad drives one.
Yeah.
Bitch.
My dad can afford one.
Yeah, like I literally I know so many people that didn't know where a clitoris was, and I'm like, dude, oh my, if you can't find a piece of a human body.
Well, that's
You've
yeah.
been failed by the world.
And we were kind of taught. We weren't really taught about with the female organ.
Right.
We were
Yeah.
just we were basically just said, hey, that thing that gets hard in between boys' legs, you just stick that in there, and then the baby happens, and like that's it.
Yeah.
And then,
See,
like be
that's
careful.
they didn't, but they didn't teach you. You maybe heard something about condoms, but they didn't teach you about types of birth of all types of birth
Yeah.
control. They didn't teach.
They're just
God,
like wear a condom.
I feel like I heard so many times about dental dams and nothing else. Like,
Yeah.
who
Who the fuck uses dental dams?
I mean, there's times to use dental dams, but they have got to be less popular than other forms
But I mean,
of
like they don't
sexual
even
contraception.
they didn't even like they didn't go. Well, you can get this at like
Right.
Walgreens, or you can get this here. They're just like, this is a dental dam. It's kind of like a sheet that just goes right here. Okay, moving
Well,
on.
not to
And
mention they didn't.
I wouldn't even be anti our thing for anyone that's not from America is they insist that sex should be taught in the home, which first of all is a really creepy thing to say out loud.
Yeah,
Saying sex should be taught in the home is creepy. I don't think it's creepy inherently
Yeah.
because I learned a lot of okay, I'm gonna say I learned a lot of sex from my mom, but that's gonna sound really weird. My mother was really liberal, and
Yeah.
as simple as one time when I came home from like fifth, sixth, seventh, I don't remember grade. I said, Mom, some kids were talking about 69. What is 69? Sure as shit, if my mom wasn't like, well, honey, that's when two people lay with their genitals in each other's mouth on top of each other. And I was like, oh shit. Well, thanks, I guess. But I learned that from my mom because my
Yeah.
school wouldn't teach anything about
well,
that.
I think
and, like,
the attitude nowadays is just like you can Google it.
right, and that does actually help. The internet does help to some degree, but
yeah, but I mean, like, really though? Like, you're just gonna get thrown into porn, and then you're gonna be shown.
Well, it
how
also
to
plays
not do
into the
things
whole all
Yeah.
of the stigma
Yeah.
of everything too. Like that,
Yeah.
this is how women are supposed to react to this, and this is how
Right.
men are supposed to react to
Right?
this.
Yeah,
and-
because like in porn, women basically are just faking it the whole time, and they're
yeah, I mean that's for the most part.
they're
yeah.
doing
and,
everything to please the dude, and as soon as the dude's done, then that's it. The film's over. When
But
really,
could you imagine if all you'd ever seen is porn? If that's where you learned your sex ed. Could you imagine the first time you tried to like growing wild blossom pose a partner, like when
Yeah.
you were like brought him home from the bar and they were like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And you're like, "Oh, this isn't what you wanted." I was
yeah,
positive I was supposed to put my leg here, and like it's just really like I don't know if that's a real pose, so hopefully that wasn't a weird thing. But I was just making up words as a joke. But
yeah,
seriously, like if you learned your sex ed from porn, that's a bad place to be in
it
because
is.
it's not representative of, in general, an overall sexual experience with most partners.
But then, to kind of bring it back to body positivity is a lot of porn actresses are out there altering their parts to make them look prettier, and so then females who see that are getting self-conscious about their parts and thinking, "Oh no, this thing's out of control and it doesn't look right. I have to go get some things lobbed off
Yeah.
if I ever want a chance with a boy or another
No.
female."
I completely agree. I don't think anything has ever been more strange or hateful to tell women than having to have like labia surgery
Yeah.
to like trim things up. Like what sort of I don't know what monster decided that was something they were gonna have to like teach like to make a thing, but no woman should ever get or want to get, in my opinion, labia surgery. Like you don't have
Yeah.
to look like a 5-year-old child. Like that's not that shouldn't be what if that's what we find sexy, that's really more creepy about us than it is about anyone else. Don't even get me started on Americans especially trying to make their partners look more like children.
Yeah.
Like tell us how you really
That's-
feel.
that's
You're like,
really
"Oh,
weird.
sorry. I want you to be skinny, flat-chested. If you could just shave everything, that'd be great." And you're like, "Dude, you're getting creepy about
If you
it."
can be like 3 to 4 feet tall,
Yeah, like
wear
for real.
pigtails, like what?
Americans are obsessed with that idea. And
Yeah, it
again,
is.
I'm not trying to shame anyone because everyone's into different body types. As far as like if you like skinny women, that's okay. If you're into pigtails as like a
Yeah.
play like playing in bed, that's all your own thing, and I've got nothing wrong with that. But Americans as a whole just trying to age play their women is a little bit bizarre. Uh, I find it really weird. I remember the first time that like we were comfortable enough with my current partner, Cal Haya, that she just hadn't shaved in a couple of like days or a week or whatever, and I was like, I kind of like it more like this. That's a little
Yeah.
personal, but I actually prefer non-shaving. I think that it gets I don't know. It's just not. I think it's creepy to always be 100% smooth all the time. That's
Yeah.
just for me. I know some women like again. It's the real question. A lot of women shave. Do all the women
There's a
shave for
lot of
themselves?
there's a lot of
Shave because they
reasons.
feel it.
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons. Either it's for maintenance or cleanliness,
Yeah.
but also
You ever heard a guy said he likes to shave his balls completely clean because he likes to maintain a clean ball sack? Like that would be a
yeah,
weird thing to say. Like I feel like, and
that's a,
it would be rare.
it is a little rare.
I've shaved my ball sack a couple of times, and it's never super enjoyable.
I cut myself trying it, and then I was like, this isn't happening again.
I've done that as well. It's really hard. I think that's how I learned I had a mole down there. I sliced right through it. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh shit, I guess I've got a mole down there. But yeah, like it's super weird because I'm not saying it doesn't happen. And if some guys are into that, again, I wouldn't shame anyone.
There's
But
nothing wrong
it's
with experimenting.
right. It's hard to imagine there's a lot of guys out there that have their like leg held up on in the shower, like just getting down there with a razor, like
Yeah.
every like what for some women it's like they do it every day or every second day, every third day. I
Yeah,
mean,
every other day.
it's hard to imagine a guy shaving his like entire body every 2 days,
Yeah.
unless it's like Dwayne the Rock Johnson or somebody, I guess.
Yeah, well,
Let's be
You know,
real. He probably
bodybuilders.
gets
you-
waxed rather
you know,
than
yeah, I was gonna say somebody else does it for
or
him.
lasered.
Yeah. Yeah, you would get lasered or waxed at that point. Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
if I was gonna do that, I wouldn't even do it. I would just get lasered or waxed because I'm not gonna. That just seems dangerous to shave down there all the time, and I think that for
Yeah.
women as well.
Yeah. So we got like
The things women do to
stay
achieve
pretty.
beauty.
They don't.
Their
Do that. That's the
beauty.
whole point,
Well,
right?
yeah, that's the whole point. Is they're not really doing it for themselves though. They're just doing it
Some
for
women are doing it for themselves.
It's
So
rare. It's rare that people do it for
Sometimes.
themselves. It's not impossible. That's for sure. A lot of people want to maintain that, but again, because we're so much of who we've been raised with, we always wonder, are they doing it for themselves or are they doing it because that's what they think they are supposed to do?
Well-
That's a hard question to answer for anything.
So, for example, on that same subject, I used to love wearing makeup all the time. I used to cake on the makeup. I was
Yeah,
not
yeah.
the best person to do makeup.
But I would
However,
always-
I still did it.
I would always tell you too. I was like, you don't have to cake.
Yeah.
You don't have to cake that stuff and ruin your
Well,
pores
and for the
just
longest
me.
time, I felt like I had to. I don't know why there was so much pressure. I just felt like that was what I was supposed to do. I was
Right.
supposed to wear makeup. I can't go out of the house without makeup.
You put
I
on
can't.
makeup, you shave everything. Like people, that's what they
Exactly.
teach them.
Well,
teach women
and
that.
so I had changed positions within the current company that I work for. And one of my coworkers was talking about how she just stopped wearing makeup. Like she just never really has been too into makeup, but she like completely stopped altogether.
Yeah.
And that got me thinking like, oh my gosh, why do I wear makeup? Why do I spend the time and money and put in so much effort in order to make myself look a certain way? Because who am I kidding? Nobody cares what I look like other
Yeah.
than myself.
Or they do
And-
care and they don't care in that way.
Right.
Like I don't look at a girl with makeup and think that like if when she takes the makeup off, I'm not like, oh god. Like, I mean, that's just not like how you. If they're
So-
only attracted to the makeup, then you're impressing the wrong people anyway. I
Right.
guess
Yeah.
is what I was getting at.
So I think ultimately, like, that's where me personally, where I felt like I went through a lot of positivity with myself was just, I realized that I don't need to be wearing makeup every day. Now, even at the time, I think part of it was stemming because I had really bad acne. And
Yeah.
so I felt like I needed to cover that up.
Yeah.
I've done that. I did that even when I was young. Like even
Yeah.
as a guy, I have worn foundation essentially as a guy
Really?
before. On bad days, I've been like, oh, that's real bad. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm really red faced already. I'm so fucking Irish. My cheeks are already pretty much Santa Claus red like most of the time. Not to mention I spent a good amount of my high school career drinking more than I should have, and I was pretty much just always rosy cheeks. So I've put on makeup before as a dude. I've also worn guy liner a few times, but that was just for a movement more than it was for like. But I've worn foundation to cover up the fact that I had like breakouts and stuff. So
I
I
Well,
get
lived
that.
with mine.
well, and with
Tomato mafia.
Tomato.
I mean, so many people have acne. I personally
Yeah.
struggled with it into my adult years, and of course, I
lot of
finally
people
it helped. I had went makeup free for I want to say 6 to 8 months, and then I decided to finally go see a dermatologist. Got that stuff
Yep.
taken care of, so I'm still makeup free even right now on camera. I don't wear makeup anymore, and I've
What?
truly
You don't
discovered
have any makeup on?
the value of sleep. So I truly value that
Yeah.
sleep, so I like sleeping in now.
She doesn't
And
value my sleep though. She's always trying to wake me up.
hey now. But
Hey now.
so
You're a rock star.
but
I
at
was gonna
least
go, "Hey
what I'm
now,
getting at
hey
is
now."
that if you're
Oh,
I think we all have a responsibility to ourselves and
Yeah.
to other people that if we're doing things a certain way, we have that responsibility to step back and say, wait a minute, why am I doing this? Am I doing this for me? Am I doing this for somebody else? Am I doing this because I think I have to just to fit the mold? Well, why? Screw the mold. Who cares? You're fine just on your own. Why do you care so much about what somebody else thinks when they don't even care? You know,
Mhm.
why?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, definitely.
Just
Yeah.
why?
Do you guys as parents, do you have a plan for what you think you're going to do since we as of currently you can't rely on the school system to really teach any of the stuff we've talked about today? Or do you just kind of like I mean, I think a lot of people
I
just
don't
kind
know.
of take it
Just
as it comes to some degree, but
kind of.
does it scare you that you can't rely on your own education system?
Definitely.
It does. It does because, like, when you think about it, your kid is within the school's
care.
care for the
They're-
majority of the day and the majority of the
Yeah.
whole week. So you're not there to like kind of say, "Hey, look, you need to love what you have" or whatever.
Yeah.
And obviously, you can tell from articles like that we've read recently, the schools aren't really fucking telling these kids, "Hey, you need to quit worrying about what you look like or sound like or whatever." They're
Right.
they're basically just see it as a 9 to 5 job and they want to get home.
Yeah.
I think
So I think though that we're probably just gonna kind of wait till it comes, but I also think we're gonna try to preach body positivity. I mean, we already tell our kid, like he's had a couple classes now where he's had handicapped kids and stuff, and we've said there's nothing wrong with that person. They just need a little more help, and you need to be a friend and be there and everything and stuff like that.
And there's nothing that makes you feel better when you see your child act in a way that makes you so proud. Like there was I think it was at one of the school events last year. There's a classmate of his that's in a wheelchair, and I believe has another sort of developmental disability.
Yeah.
But to our son, that doesn't make a difference. He
Yeah.
still treats them the same. They still want the same things and want to do the same things and experience the same things as everybody else.
Right.
So a lot of that we have dealt with how it is as it comes. I think that it definitely helps that our son has people in his close family that have some of these disabilities as well. I think that helps with the understanding of it.
Yeah, for sure.
But
We the more we're exposed to something, kind of like Musty was saying, like part of why sometimes, even though it can make it easier, I get the idea for special needs classrooms and special needs areas. But the good thing that you get about assimilation and finding teachers that can kind of handle special needs children in an already functioning like environment that they already work in is that assimilation and being around each other, it's better for everyone because it does teach that like that you're supposed to all be together. It doesn't need to be this sort of separation and things of
Yeah.
that sort.
Well, and a lot of things that help too is that our son has his grandmother has a prosthetic, and he kind of just he grew up a lot around his grandparents too. So
Yeah.
he was already introduced and so far has grown up with that kind of, you know, having to
with a prosthetic, with
Yeah.
a wheelchair, with a scooter, with some sort of crutches or some sort of
Mhm.
sometimes a walker, not only for one grandparent, for both of them.
But I mean, it's not like it's not like how other kids, and how like ashamed to say this, but when I was younger, I would always be kind of scared to like interact with them because I don't want to
think-
offend them, but I also don't want to like, you know, I don't
That
know.
can actually be one of the few things, and you'll almost never hear me defend like a right wing concept. But the one problem that you do run into with this sort of PC culture is we should think about what we say. We should be careful not to offend people. But if you're so afraid, like with what Musty's saying, the people that stop their kids from asking questions, they're
Yeah.
so afraid of offending Musty that they're not just comfortable enough to say, hey, are you comfortable with them asking these questions? Are you comfortable
Right.
with this situation? And just going from there. Instead, they are either too afraid to even mention it at all, which comes off as scary or offensive or segregating. And it's just,
Mhm.
Well, and even
I wish
more,
more people just ask questions to the person.
I think it stigmatizes it even more when we as parents are so concerned about not offending people, but also that we don't want to answer a whole lot of questions about it. Then that makes that child think that there's something wrong with that, and then
Yeah.
that's just going to continue
Yeah.
the issues that we're seeing with
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, like
Freedom,
when I was being raised and whatever, it was, you know, I was curious, but then my parents would say, don't bother them, they're already miserable and shit like that, you know. And
Yeah.
which I think that is horrible to assume
Yeah.
that somebody is
Right.
miserable.
And there's again, it just means it doesn't mean that they were bad parents. It just means they weren't informed the way they should have been at the
Yes.
time. And
right,
that should be our main goal, is to be informed as citizens and as parents. And like Musty is saying, I feel like a lot of people have lost the sort of ability to, for lack of a better word, just read a room. Like Musty has these really decorated prosthetics. If somebody's got that much time, that much effort, and that much decoration on their prosthetic, they're probably not going to be afraid about you asking about the
yeah,
prosthetic. And whereas, like, if somebody is covering it up, if you can tell that they're covering it up and that they might be shy about it, then if you do want to ask about it, if you can't read the room regardless, just ask if they are comfortable talking about it, if you're going to enter into the situation at all. And
yeah,
it feels weird that people don't have a good sense of reading the room in general, because I don't know, I feel like that used to be really common, like a pretty normal idea, sort of gauging the temperature of a room and knowing whether somebody was or wasn't comfortable with talking about something. But part of for all the things I love about the digital age, it can be really difficult because it does take away a lot of those sorts of skills that we learn. And that can be really detrimental to their sort of that's what causes sort of some of the anxiety issues.
yeah. So, but
Yeah,
Caleb
Musty, I could imagine.
grew up with
Our
somebody.
son.
Oh, sorry, I just outed our son. Now everyone knows.
Oh
I mean,
no.
I don't care, but
no.
nobody else on stream is gonna know who that is. So.
Caleb, our son, grew up with a family member who has a prosthetic, and he's also had several daycares where either somebody had a prosthetic or was in a wheelchair, and he was last year at school, his first grade. He had the girl who was in the wheelchair, and then the girl with the cerebral palsy or whatever. And his cousins too suffer from some things, and he himself suffered from some things. So, but we try to get it across that they're not any less human, they're not any less of individuals, and that you should treat them the same as everyone else.
Well, and there's not to continue on. I mean, I feel like at this point we're repeating a lot of the same things.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I mean,
like
there's
to repeat
been
things.
There's been times.
I like to reassure everyone how I feel.
Are you done?
I noticed that
Let me
you just
just-
repeated that. So
Just
yeah,
let me
fine.
repeat that I like to repeat things.
I'd
I'd like to know how Cord feels about repeating things real quickly.
Well, let me repeat. I like to repeat things.
I wish Twitch
Go-
wasn't anti like any sort of nudity. I would love to end this like episode with just like taking our shirts off, just like just taking them off.
Yeah.
But Twitch won't let you be shirtless on stream, even if
Oh,
you're not showing
really?
anything.
Because I that was a legit. Like I was gonna say we should do it shirtless, and Musty even said
yeah, you're not allowed
he was
to.
shirtless watching this, and so.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I'm sad about it.
Continue what you were saying, Julie.
Are you sure you don't need to
Lorelai?
repeat anything
Anybody
more?
have anything to repeat?
I'm done repeating.
Musty is playing along in chat too. All I was gonna add was that our son even has, I mean, he's came home and said things body positivity wise, like that he's been made fun of for things. For example, he wore a pink shirt to school
Yeah.
one day and he got made fun of by 3 different girls that he was wearing pink, and pink is a girl's color, and it
Yeah.
even said on the shirt, tough guys wear pink. Like it's
right.
Yeah.
And since
first of all,
when-
the shirt's already a parody, and they're already starting off on the wrong foot because
Yeah.
colors don't have genders.
right.
I mean, like people barely have genders at this point, let alone shirts and colors. Like that's
Yeah.
the like was the end of that sentence. That was a weird way to end a sentence.
So I mean, things like that, or yes, girls are evil. But just things like that where he's been made fun of, or for example, he got made fun of. My son likes salad, okay? He likes eating salad every day. He gets
wrong with
made
that.
fun of at school for eating salads every day. I mean, kids make fun of the
so weird.
dumbest
It's
things.
the weirdest
Yeah.
things. Yeah.
But
They'll
it's
find
that's
the problem is they'll find something. You could
Yeah.
you could be Mike Pence. I bet Mike Pence got made fun of for something, probably cutting the crust off his mayonnaise sandwiches.
Oh,
but
probably.
You mean his bread sandwiches?
yeah, his
his-
bread sandwich.
His
Maybe
bread
with-
sandwich with
maybe
a
with
side of
mayonnaise.
mayonnaise.
The mayonnaise if he's feeling spicy that day.
But I mean, yes, they're gonna find something to make fun of. However, if we as parents kind of nip that in the bud and the school tries to do that as well and just promote more of a positive atmosphere in general, I think that would make a huge, tremendous difference
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
society as a whole.
Yep, I agree.
Let's just shock collars work, right? Like let's just all put on shock collars, and if we say something rude, just give us a little zap. I'll wear one.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
that way you know if you say it, it's worth it. Like if you're like, oh man, I can't do it. That's a hideous tie. Zap. Ah shit. It's worth it. You know
It'd
that
train
had to
you.
get that out.
It's like Pavlov.
Yeah.
It'd train you.
yeah. All right. Well, we are at.
2 hours.
Well, we're gonna be rolling into 2 hours in the next 15 seconds. Do you?
He had to apologize for his wife for getting his off-white shirt the same wash as his white shirt.
Would you?
How dare you put the off-white
Do you
shirt
want to
in?
take a? Do you want to take a call or do you want to end it?
It's up to you. But if we're gonna keep going, I've got to do a quick restroom break. So it's up to you. Like if
I think
Musty's the main talker, so if Musty wants to weigh in before we call it, that's up to him.
well,
Yeah.
at this point, I think it's only Musty left
Yeah, I
watching.
think it's just musty.
So
yeah, that's the
So-
one hard thing about running the podcast on Twitch is there's a couple people I know that listen to it still listen to it later, so it's not like
Yeah.
we don't boost our viewership. Like we ran the same thing on Body by Gaming.
Yeah.
The problem with live streaming something that you don't have to be there for is that people don't have to be here for it. That's not part of the shtick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still like doing it live, but
I think we've all made a lot of good points, and I don't know at this point. I think we've covered as much as we can. I
Yeah.
mean, for not being experts about anything, Musty says we can restream it.
Exactly.
Which I apologize for the other night. If you got a notification
yeah, I got
that the stream went live, that was totally my fault.
What do you mean,
It tells
D&D night?
you that it's a
Yeah.
rerun, though. It says they've gone live with a rerun.
Okay,
the
good.
D&D night. Wow, I was so
Because
Yeah,
I did the rerun
so
and
does
stopped
tell
it.
you.
depressed and bored.
I know. I was wondering what was going on with you. Not that you wanted to talk about that on stream, but I was
No,
like,
I just got some terrible. Well, you know, the job's not really going the way I want it, and
I could tell you were really upset, but I didn't want to. I didn't want to call you out on it. I just wanted to let you feel your feelings.
Yeah, and just just things that way isn't really like like hours have been shaved, and now we're not hurting, but it's gonna start hurting if we don't find something soon, and
Yeah.
just other things with family. And I was also, I'm sorry to admit, but I was a little bored.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, it's great, like the great story. I love where it's going. It's kind of boring just to wait in between turns.
yeah, tabletop gaming is certainly not for everyone because it is a slow-paced like form. It's not. There are some times that I'm really into tabletop gaming, but I like to think of myself as pretty imaginative. I kind of see a movie, kind of like when you read a book, I guess. Like I have a movie running in my head while we play, and for me,
Yeah.
that keeps me sort of invested.
And another thing was,
Okay, I
Cuck
love the
Daddy,
name Cuck Daddy Trey.
Cuck Daddy Trey 5. Hey, what's going on? Another thing
Dude,
is that
I hope he's from FetLife. I have my Twitch link on my FetLife bio.
oh,
So
yeah.
I'm just gonna get all the Kingsters to come into my streams all the time.
Another thing is that my whole idea of how I wanted my character to go is not going the way I wanted it to go.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Like I wanted him to be like this badass. Like I wanted him to be like the fucking like the devil from hell, and like he's the badass and everything. And so far, it's just me embarrassing myself trying to pick up eggs I can't even lift.
Dude,
And can't even stab
that's
shit.
The fun part that's the most enjoyable part of tabletopping is because you can't. It's like that's actually my favorite part. I love the idea that like life, you're just sort of you're just living off of this random roll. Like every
Yeah.
time, like we don't like to admit it, but guess what? Every time you go to pick up something in the
That's
real
pretty
world,
good.
you're just hoping. Thanks
Ooh.
for that follow, baby.
Thank you for
You're
that
You're really
follow.
just hoping that you don't sort of get
Say his
you
name.
don't throw out your back.
I don't know what that
Brutal
means.
V2.
Brutal V2. Welcome to the show.
Oh, I already said Cuck Daddy Trey.
Cuck Daddy
I'm not-
Trey
I'm not-
5. Thanks
I'm
for the
not-
follow.
How are you gonna not enjoy the name Cuck Daddy Trey?
Yeah. I don't know. It just seems like that role is always against me. Like, like I'm like, I want to go up. I'm gonna dash towards it and stab it.
Who's the
and then-
sister?
I actually, I
from
never
Phineas
watched
and
Phineas and
Ferb?
Ferb. I don't have an answer for you there. Did you guys watch Phineas? I know that
Candace.
the
It's
duck's name
Candace,
is
bro.
It's
like Larry the
Candace.
Platypus or something, right?
Perry the
Larry
platypus.
It's Perry. Come on.
Perry.
man.
But Candace is
Larry
the sister.
is so close to Perry.
It's close. I'll give you that, but it's Perry.
But it's
Yeah.
still wrong.
I think it's Plary. I'm almost 100% his name is Plary.
But I'll be like, I want to.
Hey,
Thanks for that follow, Brutal.
Yeah, thank you for those follow, guys.
It's just like I'm like I want to
Wow.
use flame rebuke, and he's like, okay, roll, and then he's like, roll again for damage, and it's like fucking 1. I'm like, wow.
Dude, that's my favorite part of tabletop. Like,
Wow. I'm trying to impress this lady
I actually
Tiefing over here, and I can't.
enjoy. That's my favorite part. I mean, that's kind of the fun. Like, because think about haven't you ever just like I don't know, haven't you ever just messed something up and been like, wow, that was bad luck? That's how the world
Yeah.
works. I think that's a
Yeah.
really enjoyable part of it. Like I love when somebody like when Cal tried to jump on that thing's back and just whiffed it. Like,
Well, what's with that?
feels
She's
so
always
good.
jumping on everything's back and trying to fucking stab it in the back
That's
of the
how
neck.
you do it. But yeah, but it's just all those sorts of things. So I think tabletopping kind of has
Yeah.
that. But I could see how for somebody that it's not for everyone, I guess is what I meant. I can
No,
see that.
and it's like I have fun with it. It was just that night particular, I was just getting bored and
Yeah.
shit was going through my mind and everything. But I did manage to put on my mask.
I saw that.
That was
Slender
pretty.
Man.
I was thinking like that could be a good pop filter.
You know, it could be. A
It
good
could
pop
be.
filter.
Yeah.
The best part is that you can't see on camera when he puts that on, but his beard hairs start
Yeah, my beard.
sticking through it.
Oh, it like sticks through it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
The
funny.
best part.
Yeah. So, I promise next Friday when we do D&D, I'll be a little bit more energetic and more involved.
Hey, and maybe, I mean, just saying if you're interested, maybe.
We've already
I
started the
could
campaign. You can't come in.
No, I meant like maybe you could start adding in a Terra stream as well.
Oh, come on with the Terra. Did you see she downloaded Terra on the
I
PlayStation?
wanted to openly apologize for that to both of you.
Yeah.
both to ruining Loreline's life by introducing her to another MMO, and yours for having to listen to her talk about an MMO all the time like I do.
Yeah.
Any
now,
of you guys
yeah.
furries? I'll look at furries every once in a while, but it's not like my go-to fetish.
If I had money to make a furry costume, I would. But
I'm not into the
I'm a
furry
furry in
costumes.
spirit.
I like looking at like the artwork,
Yeah.
if you will. Like I find it more enjoyable on that than I do like on like the actual people wearing costumes boning each other. That gets a little weird for me, I feel like.
No worries, Musty. You can join in a call on the next one. I think we're gonna call it here actually because it's
Yeah. We're just wrapping up. That's
Yeah.
why we're not on topic anymore.
yeah, we're not on
just getting
topic
ready to
anymore.
wrap
We're
it.
just talking shit. So, yeah.
Furry.
Oh, say that out loud. Say that username out loud.
ISO will come.
Nope.
Oh, ice wallow come.
I
I
you
swallow
got it.
come
You-
7474.
Those are the people that make you want to. You have to say their
I
name if
love-
you want to follow.
That is
I
a
love those
fantastic name.
those hilarious.
Just saying.
Yeah, those
That one's
are
a
hilarious.
good one too. Some people are not near as creative.
Oh, thanks
That's a
for the
pretty good
follow.
one.
Thanks.
Thank you for
I
that
think-
follow,
If I-
guys.
yeah,
I
like I
think
said, if
to
I-
each their own. I am not personally a furry, but to each their own. If you want to do it, go for it.
Yeah, if I had the
I'm
money,
a product
I
of
would
the
do
internet. I'm in everything. On my
Sperm
FetLife
Slurper still
profile,
wins.
I'm on FetLife, and on my like Sperm Slurper, that was a funny one.
it. Tell me what this FetLife is.
You don't know what FetLife is? You've never heard of it?
He's talked about it
No.
before.
It's like social media for people with kinks. Like
Ooh.
literally, it's like Facebook,
Hey, that's pretty
but
good.
for people that are all kinky. So like for example, and some of it's about sex, some of it's not. But it's like for people like me and Tay who are into things, it's kind of a safe space to look for like people if we want
Oh,
to.
like an extra
uh,
partner.
Yeah, you can do that, or you
Yeah.
can just join message boards and sort of talk about your kinks in a place where nobody will judge you for them. It's
Yeah.
just kind of for that. But on my FetLife profile, wait, what was my initial thing? Oh, on my FetLife profile, it's really positive. You can be there's a bunch of genders and a bunch of like identifiers, and I'm listed as a hedonist because I don't identify as like a dom or a sub or a furry or
Yeah.
anything. I literally identify as I like things that feel good or hedonist. I like to eat lots of food, have lots of sex, and
Yeah.
that's kind of my marker. But also don't go on there because there's lots of there's some pictures of me you might not want to see on there.
I'm going on there right now. Is this is this an app on the phone?
Yeah, you can. Well, you can get it on the phone, but you have to
The
go
guy
to
on the
it's like
right
there.
is looking like a snack.
The guy.
Am I?
That
I'm
would
on
be
the right.
you.
Oh, hey. I'll be your snack.
That's my boy over there.
Yummy, yummy. These calories are good for you.
Hashtag bear.
Hashtag bear. Hey, I'll admit I'm a bear.
Nothing wrong with that.
I'm a big hairy bear. Yeah, I'm gonna get that FetLife. I'm gonna check it out.
I actually was trying to read and decide if it was you should definitely make sure your wife is okay with it because mostly
Yeah,
it's people, it's a sex
probably
thing.
should.
It's non-sex stuff, but you should, if you go on, you should do it together is what I meant. Like me and Tay, we do
Ah.
it. Don't make an account together like a fucking loser on Facebook where you're like,
Oh, don't make a
both
shared
have the same
Facebook.
name. Yeah, don't do that. But you can do it. Like if you go to my FetLife, it shows. I can't link it because
Yeah.
there is nudity on the site, so
Word.
we can't ever link it or anything. But
G
on
unit.
FetLife, what'd you say?
Nothing. Continue.
But on FetLife, I'm listed as a hedonist, and you can like mark that you're in a relationship. But it's
So
if you
hedonist
want the
just means that
attribute-
anything that makes you feel good.
yeah, that's what hedonist is.
So
I
that's like
the
you're just down for anything.
right. Like I wouldn't identify personally as like hetero-flexible or homosexual, but like if a dude was sucking my dick, would I stop it? I don't know if I would stop it.
I
You know
don't
what I'm
know.
saying?
If it feels good. I mean, the only reason I'd stop it is if he's like not doing good.
Musty says, "Did
Like,
you
yeah,
just
like,
say G
I'm
unit?"
actually-
I
I would
did.
identify.
I did say G unit.
I would identify personally as heterosexual, but I'm not saying I wouldn't.
But you're not
bend a
gonna
little bit
like
if
you're
it
not gonna
felt good.
ruin the night though, right? You're not
Right.
gonna
I
you're
mean,
not gonna
as
ruin
an
the
example,
mood.
everyone that follows my stream or anything knows that I tend to be into MMF threesomes, and that's not something you do if you're not at least semi comfortable with just bodies in general. I identify as a hedonist. Some of them, if you guys aren't as in the community, you'll probably, if you actually make accounts on there together,
Yeah,
you would have to probably Google half the things as you go through them.
probably.
I don't know if
We'll
I
have to
want
find
to
out
know
what
some
what
of them.
communities
There's
we belong
like a
to.
little. Do you guys know what a little is?
Something small.
It's a little in the context of something like FetLife is people that kind of pretend to be innocent young people that are kind of like taken care of by their sort of the person taking care of them. There's
Yeah.
just a lot of things you might have to Google it.
I'm
Sorry,
sorry,
If a
Musty.
tree falls in the
Musty.
forest while a guy sucks your dick, does it make a sound?
Depends on how good he's sucking your dick.
Yeah. Oh shit, Musty, you were so funny, man. But yeah, I like FetLife and things like that because it's a fun, safe community where me and Cal can kind of talk about the things that we find interesting, but
Yeah.
without it being really. It's not. I couldn't just post on Facebook. My poor grandma would have a heart attack.
So have you ever hooked up with anyone off of it?
No. We only have been using it recently. Kind of just for us, it's more of a community thing. I like.
Compensation started.
Yeah, I like sort of talking. Sometimes it's excitement. Cal is an exhibitionist, is like her title. I don't think she would care if I talked about it. So like for us, some of the enjoyment comes from like we'll upload pictures on there, and then
Yeah.
people will sort of like comment and tell her how sexy she is, and then that kind of gets us both sort of like into it. So for
Okay.
us, we use it more of like kind of a networking site than anything, and just kind of it's sort of to, for lack of a better word, push your boundaries. It's really just there to sort of introduce you into communities. And the nice thing is at any point, since it's online, you can just sort of dip out from it or put it on hold. And like Facebook, you don't have to like read it every day, but it
Yeah.
can be really fun for if you're a sex positive person. And there's a lot like any fetish you can think of in any community you can think of, you can join message boards and talk to and post along with other people, and it's just enjoyable to that degree. But it's not for everybody. Again, you kind of have to be pervert sounds like a bad word, but you got to be pretty into like stupid shit probably to really enjoy it. But
Yeah.
it's fun, and I really recommend it.
You've got to be open to a lot
Yeah,
of things.
Are
is
you
what I-
open to a lot
Like
of
for
things?
example,
I
Are
don't
you
know if I
open
feel
to me
comfortable to
downloading-
answer that on air.
Are you open for me downloading it onto my phone?
and a lot of people also, it's you have to be, especially if you're like me and Cal and you have pictures, you have to do that knowing that at any point those could just pop. I'm not running for mayor of New York anytime soon,
Yeah.
so I never mind it. I do pictures all the time. There's a fair amount of pictures of both me and Cal with less clothes on than our parents would probably like to see online, but we just don't mind because we're not like, we don't have aspirations to achieve public office or anything. No
Yeah.
one's ever gonna. Someone would be like, "Oh my God." Even if I had 10,000 Twitch followers live at like 20,000 people watching, someone's like, "Oh my God, a picture of Nixit's dick," I'd just be like, "Yeah, it is, baby." Like, you know what I mean?
Say-
That's just who I am.
choose Nixit for governor.
Right.
Oh yeah, look at this dick pic.
But
Who was
that's why I
that?
would never be elected governor because I'd be like,
New
"It's a
dick
nice
pic
one, right?"
every
You know what I mean?
Sunday.
Who was that one guy? I think he was trying to be governor or something, but his like,
Wiener?
Anthony Weiner.
I always am really like I always try to caution people. Some people like to just make accounts like that, throw pictures up, and think, oh, I'll take them down later. And I always want to really tell people that you got to be really careful with sites
Yeah.
like that
Once
because
it's online,
somebody out there is
Yeah.
screen capping it, jerking it to it.
Yeah.
once it's
yeah.
online, you can't get it back.
Exactly. So
People
you
are
have
saving
to know
it to their
that
phone.
okay with that.
You're all right. You're all right with the idea that somebody saved your dick pic to their phone.
Yeah, that's fine. You want a dick pic on your phone? I'll send either you one right now.
Go ahead.
You want me to send one? Don't fuck with me. I'll send you a dick pic. I'm sending it. I'm sending the dick pic right now. I'm sure I got one.
All right.
You know, I'm gonna Facebook it because it's easier.
Just make sure
Oh,
that
you
you
know what?
double check who you're sending it to,
Nope, I'm sending it.
No,
to,
send it to both of
I'm
us.
sending it to the Fort Julie group.
because
There you go.
nobody likes unsolicited dick pics.
Well, too late. It's coming to you, both of you.
It's not unsolicited. I asked for it.
You
Exactly.
did.
Well,
You're on the episode, which means that you're also involved.
Look, yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it's, but
I mean,
oh,
Nick and I already like a lot of the Merry Christmas.
Hashtag Merry Christmas.
Nick and I already like a lot of the same things. I mean, once I see that, I don't know what to tell you from there.
You both like getting your dick sucked in the forest.
ooh, there we go. That's one of my favorites. I'm a little skinnier there, so it's really a better picture. You know what I mean? Like, it's really it really adds a little more length because little do you know, I don't know if people know this, but you
Oh, God.
actually do.
I don't
lose
know if I'm
length
ready
you
for
gain
this.
weight.
I don't know if I'm ready for this.
If you gain weight, you actually lose length.
Yeah,
so
you
this
do.
This is like 40, 50 pounds ago. Big Dick Nick, baby.
Big Dick Nick. Pretty good. I need to lose weight.
Thank you.
No, I mean I need to
do
lose
too
weight.
as well. I do too.
I think we need to talk.
One of your favorites, I'm dead, Musty says. Wait, you don't have a favorite dick pic, Musty? You're missing out, man. Did you guys enjoy that?
I don't know if Julie did you see it?
I did see it.
You looked at it?
I did look at it.
And then she's like, we need to talk. So I think she's gonna like
it's
she's
kind
gonna
of one of
divorce
those
me.
things when it's like it's
come-
somebody
come
that's
for
like
Nick's
your
it.
brother that you've known for so long, and then you see something like that and you're kind of like, I don't know what to think about that. Like,
I can freely share that because it's on the internet. Like I ain't worried about it, man.
I mean, I don't have a
think
problem
there's
with you
anyone-
doing it. I mean, that's
I don't think there's anyone that
whatever.
can, like, who's gonna damage my reputation? I'm a barely functioning streamer. Like, yeah.
What
oh
have I
no,
got to
don't mess with
lose?
Yeah. All right. Oh, I think
Well,
it's
you see, if you're not sitting there and thinking that some of those dick pics aren't making the cut, then you're either the best photographer in the world or you're not taking enough dick pics. Because I
Yeah.
know I've taken some and been like, wow, that's got a lot of wrinkly balls in it, and then been like,
Yeah.
let's take that out.
well, see, like that's my problem. Like, I can never get the best angle or the best lighting or anything. So I just
Yeah,
I just give up.
I've got stream lights, so
I'm
my,
like-
my lights are.
It's not gonna happen. No dick pic today.
Do you want me to take a dick pic for you? We'll get the lights up. We'll put you on the bed. I'll get the lights up, and I'll get the perfect angle and just.
Yeah, I might have to. What do you charge for? Like, is it hourly or what?
Well, I'll charge you something, but
Do
we'll
you,
discuss
do
that
you
when you're.
think that it
Okay.
takes an hour to get a good picture?
We'll go to the forest
Oh,
afterwards.
it's gonna take an hour to get the right picture, so he won't be home for now.
Musty says
Excuse
use
me.
Instagram filters.
That just makes me think your Instagram is just non-stop dicks. Like your entire Instagram is just dick.
He's got a separate Instagram account. Musty dick pics.
Dude, Musty Dick
That's-
Pics is a great name and a little horrifying, like when you say
Right?
it out loud, because the
Yeah.
Right?
Musty is like.
All right, let's
All right,
end
well, now
this
that everyone's seen
episode.
my penis, I'm gonna go ahead and we can call it.
Nothing says a little.
Penis with doggy. What do you do if it's a filter where you have to open your mouth? Open
my
your
God.
mouth. Are you just like, wink? Like you just trying to get it to open up quite right?
Okay, let's end this before we get kicked off Twitch.
And banned from Twitch.
Yeah.
Dude, when I get this into my stuff, I usually just delete the episode after. Like just rip the episode and then delete it off of Twitch.
Do you?
I do it all the time. The other day I got into some filthy shit and then I just deleted my episode.
Oh, really? All
Gotta
right.
get the timing spot on.
All right, guys. You all know what you need to do. You need to follow us on this here Twitch channel.
On this here channel.
This here Twitch channel, we're up to 47 followers now, but that probably will go to 46 after we end the stream. for some reason.
Twitch has been messing with the follower count. I'm not really sure what's
It
going
seems
on.
like every
It
time.
always does that, yeah.
So, but hey, 47. We're only 3 away then from hitting our affiliate.
Yeah, which doesn't mean like we still would need people to subscribe to see anything, but
Sure.
it's still a nice step towards the future of the podcast, and
Yeah.
Definitely.
we'd very much appreciate it if you'd follow us. And
And just spread the word. I mean, Musty has done
Yeah.
a fantastic job
Musty is awesome.
of
Yeah.
spreading the word. And so thank you very much for the shout outs on that. That definitely helps.
Yes.
Anybody
Yeah,
else
we'll-
that may be
we'll
watching,
keep-
if you want to share or
we'll keep
follow, feel
Shouting
free.
you out, like go see Musty Bruce channel, Zombie Foot Gaming. He plays awesome games and even plays with his kids. It's very entertaining, and you'll get to hear him talk about us, which we very much appreciate. And you can also check his Instagram, Musty Goose. Pretty awesome dude.
And while you're on all of those social media sites, feel free to check out all of our socials that are appearing in the chat.
I don't have to do any work.
I know. Look at that. I'm a fantastic co-host over here. Nick better be careful because I'm coming for his job.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
What job is that?
I don't have a
Co-host.
job.
Oh, co-host.
Is it being a shitty co-host that shows up like 50% of the time? That's my job.
I think you're at like 25% of the time now.
Well, I wasn't there today because we had a plan, I thought.
Yeah, yeah
Anyway.
we had a plan, but
Dick pick off.
Pick off.
next episode.
That's actually why they're in such a hurry to get off. After I send them the dick pic, they've got to go have some nuptials.
Yeah, we gotta have a discussion.
Yeah, with our company that's downstairs right now that's been here for the entire stream.
Cord
I
might
hope
be
they weren't watching.
Cord might be single soon. She's
Yeah,
gonna
I
divorce
mean-
me and come for
Well,
you.
we might both be single because the last I heard, I think her and Cal were running off together, and I guess we'll
Yeah.
just hook up.
I don't know, but then
We'll have
again,
to.
Nixit's
I'm
the one
I'm a
that
shitty
loves.
artist that can't keep a job though, so you're gonna have to be my sugar daddy.
Nixit is the one
Okay.
that loves waffles, and then just sent me the picture that he sent me. So I don't
Well,
know.
tell people Don't tell people I sent you that. That sounds.
Yeah,
that
he-
sounds
he sent
I
it to
you
both of us.
guys.
To
Yeah.
both of us. Okay,
Yeah, he
I
sent
get
it to
it. I
both
get
of
your
us.
point.
So he's
Noted.
not in the wrong.
One makes it sound really creepy because I'm
Yeah.
sending Cord's wife a dick pic, and one is like sending the group a dick pic.
Yeah.
But either way, if you guys get on FetLife and I'll friend you,
Dick
then you're
pick
gonna
off
see a
for
lot more,
co-host
so.
spot. I don't
So
know
yes.
how that would work for
co-host.
me.
If you guys get on FetLife, let me know and I'll add you guys.
Oh, we'll let you know. All right, guys. Don't forget, we got Twitters. We've got King Cord 1. We've got Nixits.
Got a piece. So
Nix
fast. You better do
underscore
a
it.
little fast as outro.
We also have the podcast Twitter, which is the NVM podcast. Don't forget to hit the YouTube if you want to watch the video of this podcast
There's-
after it's streamed live. It's on YouTube.
And then check out Instagram, Facebook. SoundCloud should be available the next day. Also on iTunes as well. Videos should be up on YouTube later tonight.
And also, if you guys want to give subject suggestions, here's the Discord link here in the chat. Otherwise, we also have a Reddit. And guys, come on, find the Reddit. Give me some content. Make some memes. Make some drawings. Make some animations using our audio. And right now, it's just me posting to myself. Right now, it's just me posting the same meme with different words on it to myself. Okay, guys, I'm starting to feel alone over there.
You're
Go
talking
to
yourself.
Reddit.
All right.
Go to Reddit. I have one with it's the bird that's like inhaling, and I
You've
guess stream
redone that
starts
meme
soon,
so many times.
and then all of a sudden music turns off, and then Scarlet Fire. That was the first one. Then the next one
That was
is
great.
the next one is you're so fucking precious when you smile. So yeah, guys, please come on. Don't make me feel alone over there on the Reddit. Go over there.
All right.
Give us some content. Otherwise, I think next episode, which by the way, every episode is live Sundays at 3 p.m. here on Twitch
Central Time.
Central Time. I think the next episode we're gonna go kind of back to the roots a little bit since we've been hitting a lot of hard topics lately. You know.
Emphasis on hard.
Have a great
Emphasis.
night, Musty. Yeah, obviously.
I'm hard right now. No, I think we need to
And
either.
banned.
We'll either do a conspiracy episode, or I think we can do like creepypasta or ghost or something. How's
I
that
think you
sound?
guys are due for a conspiracy episode.
You think
Plus,
we should do a conspiracy?
I've got quite a few things planned for a conspiracy episode that I could throw your direction.
What do you think, Nixit? Conspiracy next Sunday?
I'm good with everything, man. I'm just here to send dick pics to
Don't
people.
do that.
Conspiracies.
That's actually the conspiracy. I'm not even a real talk show host.
Nope. This is actually.
I'm actually
All
working
right.
on being a penis model. I'm gonna be the guy that stands there in like underwear that has like a ridiculous bulge that you just know isn't real.
Socks.
It's like a sock in there.
Well, let's let Nick go so that he doesn't have to
Yeah.
resort to using that glass he's been drinking out
Thanks
of.
everyone who showed up in the chat. Thank you everyone for following us, and we'll see
Yeah.
you next Sunday, 3 p.m. Have a beautiful Sunday.
Thanks
Bye.
for having me on the show.